The first packet was stuck to the bottom of the trash can with coffee grounds. I only saw it because Leah's kitchen faucet had been dripping into the cabinet, and I had pulled the can out to get at the shutoff valve. The white pharmacy paper had my mother's name printed across the top, Rose Mercer. Under that, in smaller type, furosemide 20 milligrams. The pills were still sealed. I stood there on one knee, holding the packet between two fingers, while cold water tapped steadily into a mixing bowl behind me. Then I looked down and saw another white corner beneath a black takeout container, and another under a wad of paper towels. By the time Leah walked into the kitchen, I had 11 unopened medication packets lined up on her floor. She stopped so suddenly that the ice shifted in her glass. "Why are you going through my trash?" I looked at the pills, then at her. "Why is your grandmother's heart medicine in it?" Her eyes did something I'd seen since she was 14. They went hard before the rest of her face caught up. "The doctor stopped those." "Which doctor?" She took a drink. That was when I knew the medicine wasn't the only thing they had been keeping from me. 36 hours earlier, I had been standing in my mother's kitchen, labeling plastic containers, while she complained that I was ruining chicken. "You've taken all the joy out of that bird," she said. "It's chicken soup." It was chicken soup. Now it's evidence. I pressed a strip of blue painter's tape onto the lid and wrote Thursday dinner in black marker. My mother sat at the table in a pink housecoat, one ankle crossed over the other. At 86, Rose had a way of looking decorative even when she was being difficult. Her white hair had been set the day before, and she wore lipstick in her own kitchen before 9 in the morning. The lipstick was called Cherries in the Snow. I knew because I had been buying it for her since the drugstore stopped keeping it at the front counter. "You don't have to eat it," I said. "That's what people say when they know it's bad. You ate 2 bowls last week. I was weaker then." Her ankles were swollen. The left one was worse, the skin shiny above the strap of her slipper. I noticed because noticing things had become my main occupation around her. "Did you take your water pill?" She lifted her coffee cup and peered into it, as if the answer might be floating there. "Mother?" "Don't call me that, like I stole something. Did you?" "The day is young." Her pill organizer sat on the counter beside the toaster. Monday morning's compartment was open and empty. That should have answered my question, but Rose had developed methods. An empty compartment meant only that the pill was no longer in the compartment. I had found tablets and tissues, saucers, the pocket of her robe, and once inside a ceramic bird she claimed she hadn't touched in 20 years. I picked up the organizer. "You're checking my work now?" she asked. "I'm admiring it. Your father used to admire things with his hands in his pockets. My father also thought bologna was a vegetable. He had a joyful spirit." The back door opened, and Leah came in, carrying 2 paper cups and enough energy to change the pressure in the room. "There she is," she said. Rose straightened. "Finally, somebody pleasant." Leah bent to kiss her cheek, careful not to leave a mark, then placed one of the cups in front of her. Rose looked at me over the lid with the satisfied expression of a woman receiving contraband. "What is that?" I asked. "Coffee," Leah said. "I can see it's coffee. Then your eyesight is still excellent. That's good." Rose smiled into the cup. I took it, read the sticker, and handed it back. "Half calf." "Fine." Leah pulled off her sunglasses. "Thank you, Officer Mercer." She was 38, though she could still make one word contain every argument we'd had since she learned sarcasm. She had my dark hair and her mother's ability to look composed while committing an act of aggression. That morning, she wore cream-colored pants, a soft green sweater, and shoes that appeared to have been designed for standing near chairs, but not walking to them. "You're early," I said. "I said 9. It's 8:40. "That's early. She's taking me to buy earrings," Rose said. "I'm taking her to the botanical garden. And they have earrings." "The gift shop has earrings," Leah said. "The garden has plants. I have plants. You have 3 plastic violets and a fern Dad keeps resuscitating against its will." Rose sipped her coffee. "The fern has character. The fern has mites," I said. Leah opened the refrigerator and stared at the labeled containers. "Good Lord, what? It looks like a meal prep service run by the Department of Corrections. Your grandmother knows what's in there. Your grandmother can open a lid." Rose raised one finger. "Some of them are challenging." I watched Leah move the containers around to make room for the bakery box she'd brought. She had started taking Rose out more often over the past 2 months. At first it was lunch on Sundays, then weekday errands, then concerts at the library and a church rummage sale where Rose bought a lamp shaped like a pineapple. Leah had even taken her to get her hair done after years of claiming beauty salons smelled like burned dust. I was grateful. I was also suspicious of gratitude that arrived suddenly. "You still have her this weekend?" I asked. Leah turned around. "That is the arrangement. If it's too much, tell me now. You've asked me 4 times. I've asked twice. You asked twice yesterday. That would make 3. She smiled without warmth. Thank God we cleared that up. Rose tapped the table with one red fingernail. "I'm sitting right here while you discuss who has to endure me." "No one is enduring you," I said. "Glenn, you packed me 7 dinners for 5 days. 2 are extra. For what? Famine? For choice." Leah laughed. Rose did too. It wasn't cruel. That was the trouble. If they had been cruel, I could have defended myself. Instead, I stood there with my black marker while they shared the easy kind of laughter that had mostly disappeared from my relationship with either of them. Diane said I made myself useful too quickly. She had told me that the previous Friday over dinner, while I was replacing the batteries in her smoke detector. "Sit down," she'd said. "I'm almost done." "You were almost done 20 minutes ago." "Then you found the loose cabinet hinge. It was hanging crooked. So was your collar. I've shown restraint." I had climbed down from the chair. Diane was 61 and had the kind of patience that came with a visible edge. She didn't nag. She observed. Somehow that was worse. "You like a room where something needs fixing," she said. "I like a room where things work." "No. You like knowing why you're in the room." That sentence had followed me home. Now in my mother's kitchen, Leah was describing the guest room at her condo as if Rose were checking into a resort. "I put the blue quilt on the bed," she said. "The good one." "The one you said couldn't be washed," I asked. "It can be washed. You said dry clean only." "It was an expression." "That is not an expression." Rose covered my hand with hers. Her skin felt thin and cool. "Your daughter is trying to do something nice." "I know. Try to look like it." I looked at Leah. "Thank you for having her." The smile Leah gave me was genuine for half a second. It made her look younger and more tired. "You're welcome." Then she saw the pill organizer in my hand. "I'll take that," she said. "I was just checking. I know what you were doing." She held out her hand. I gave it to her because refusing would have meant admitting the gesture mattered. Rose watched the organizer pass between us. "The morning ones are separate from the evening ones," I said. "The little white pill, Dad." "What? I can read." "I didn't say you couldn't. You say it with bullet points." Rose laughed again, but Leah didn't. She placed the organizer in her oversized leather purse and zipped it shut. That was the moment I should have asked why she didn't put it with Rose's luggage. Instead, I picked up my marker and labeled another container. The plumbing repair at Rose's house was supposed to take 5 days. A corroded pipe had been leaking behind the downstairs bathroom wall, and the plumber warned me there would be noise, dust, and stretches without water. Leah had offered her guest room before I could suggest a hotel or my place. The timing seemed almost suspiciously kind. Diane and I had planned 3 nights at a lake 2 hours north, our first trip together, if you didn't count a wedding in Toledo, where I spent most of the reception helping the groom's uncle jumpstart his Buick. Diane did not count it. At noon, after Leah drove Rose away, I went home to pack. I put 2 pairs of pants, 4 shirts, 6 pairs of socks, a flashlight, a first aid kit, and a roll of duct tape on my bed. Diane called while I was deciding whether the weather justified a heavier jacket. "How many flashlights?" she asked. "1." A pause. "I'm proud of you. You make me sound unwell. I've seen the trunk of your car. What happens if we need jumper cables? At a lakeside inn? Cars remain, cars near water." She laughed. "Is Rose settled?" Leah picked her up. And what?" "You said that like Leah drove off with a kidney." I sat on the edge of the bed. "They were fine." "You don't believe that? I believe they think they're fine." "Glenn?" "What?" "You are allowed to go away for 3 nights." "I know." Say it like a person who knows. I looked at the open suitcase. I am allowed to go away for 3 nights. Terrifying, wasn't it? A little. That evening Rose called to tell me about the botanical garden. She described a cactus that looked like a chair, a sandwich that cost $16, and a man who had mistaken her for Leah's mother. "He needs stronger glasses," I said. He was charming. He was 80. People live full lives at 80. I've heard rumors. Leah took the phone in the background. "She's fine," she said. "We're watching a movie." "What movie? Does it matter?" No. Then why'd you ask? Because questions were how I stood in rooms I wasn't in. I didn't say that. Make sure she puts her feet up. Rose shouted, I can hear you. Leah lowered her voice. Go pack, Dad. The call ended before I could remind her about the morning pills. The next day, Leah texted that the faucet under her kitchen sink was dripping. She added, Don't come over. I already called maintenance. 40 minutes later, she called back. Maintenance says Tuesday. I can be there at 2. You don't have to. I know? That was how I ended up kneeling in spilled water, with Rose's medication arranged across the tile like evidence Leah had accused me of creating. The doctor stopped those, she said. Which doctor? I don't remember his name. You went to an appointment with her and don't remember the doctor's name? I didn't say I went. Then who told you? Leah set her glass on the counter. Grandma knows what she takes, does she? The second I said it, Leah's face changed. You don't get to talk about her like she's incompetent. I didn't. You were about to. No, I was about to ask why 11 doses of a prescribed heart medication are under your coffee grounds. She folded her arms. She hates that pill. A lot of people hate medicine. It makes her pee every 20 minutes. It keeps fluid from building around her heart. It humiliates her. The words sat between us, too personal for the kitchen. I looked toward the hallway. Where is she? Taking a nap. I want to talk to her. Of course you do. I stood slowly, my knees stiff from the tile. What does that mean? It means you don't want answers. You want compliance. Before I could respond, Rose appeared in the hallway wearing Leah's blue robe. She looked smaller without her shoes. One hand rested against the wall. What are you two doing? She asked. I picked up one of the packets. Mom, why was this in Leah's trash? Leah looked at her. Rose looked at the row of pills, then at me. She crossed the kitchen, took Leah's hand, and said, Because I asked her to put it there. For a second, nobody moved. The faucet kept dripping into the metal bowl with a hollow little plink, steady as a metronome. I looked at my mother's hand wrapped around Leah's. You asked her to throw away your medicine? I asked her not to make a production out of it. That isn't what I asked. I know what you asked. I was present for it. Leah squeezed her hand. Grandma, you don't have to explain yourself. Yes, she does. Rose turned her head toward me. Don't bark. I'm not barking. You have a bark. Your father had one too, but his was lower. Can we leave Dad's voice out of this? Hard to. He used it so much. Leah guided her to a chair. Rose lowered herself carefully, trying to hide the effort. The robe parted at her ankles. The swelling was worse than it had been the previous morning. A pale ridge showed where her slipper had pressed into her left foot. I held up the packet. How many days have you skipped? Rose adjusted the robe over her knees. Mom, I'm thinking. You don't have to think. It's a number. All numbers require thought. That's their whole problem. Leah moved between us and began gathering the packets from the floor. Leave those, I said. They're trash. They're prescription medication. They were in the trash, and now they're not. She kept picking them up. I reached down for the same packet she did, and our hands met. Leah jerked hers back as if I'd grabbed her. Stop, Rose said. Neither of us was touching her, but we both froze. She looked from Leah to me. I didn't take the pill Saturday because we went to the garden. I didn't take it Sunday because we had brunch. I didn't take it this morning because I didn't want to. That's 3 days, I said. There are 11 packets. Some are from before. How long before? I don't know. A week. 2? Were you throwing them away at home? Rose looked toward the window. The ceramic bird flashed into my mind. Leah dropped the packets onto the counter. She's not on trial. No, she's in heart failure. Rose flinched. I heard the sharpness too late. It was medically accurate and emotionally useless, which described a lot of things I said to people I loved. I'm sorry, I said. You always say sorry right before you explain why you were right, Leah said. That isn't fair. It's incredibly fair. Rose raised her voice. I am not dying in this kitchen, so both of you can lower the temperature. You could end up in the hospital, I said. I could end up in the hospital because I slipped on one of your labeled soup containers. That doesn't even make sense. It made enough. Leah pulled out the chair beside her and sat. Tell him what happened at the antique mall. Rose's mouth tightened. What happened? I asked. Nothing worth hearing in stereo. Grandma? Rose stared into her hands. Her nails were polished the same soft pink as her robe. There was a line for the restroom, Leah said quietly. She didn't make it. I said nothing. It went through her pants. We were in the middle of the store. There weren't any benches, so she had to stand there while I bought sweatpants from a place next door. You said you went to the garden. That was yesterday. The antique mall was last week. Rose's face had gone still. Not confused. Sealed. I'm sorry, I said again, and this time I left it there. She rubbed her thumb across a spot on the table. A woman offered me a plastic bag for the car seat. She was trying to be kind. Leah said, "Dad." She was humiliated. I understand. No, you understand that the medicine is important. You don't understand the rest. I understand more than you think. You weren't there. The words weren't loud. They didn't need to be. Leah had said some version of them for years. When she quit her first job. When her marriage ended. When she moved out of a house, she had painted every room in and came back carrying her clothes in black garbage bags because the suitcases were still in the attic. I had been there afterward. I was always good afterward. I looked at Rose. "Why didn't you call me?" She gave a small, tired laugh. "So you could bring me absorbent undergarments in a labeled container? I would have helped." That is exactly the trouble, Glenn. I felt something shift in me, not dramatically, more like a shelf settling under weight. "So, you stopped the medication," I said. "I stopped one pill. The one that keeps you from retaining fluid. The one that makes it impossible to leave the house without studying every bathroom in Ohio. We're not in Ohio. You know what I mean. I know you can't make this change without talking to your doctor." Rose looked at Leah. There, that voice. What voice? The one that closes the meeting. Leah stood and went to the refrigerator. "Do you want water, Grandma?" "No. If I drink water, your father will chart it." "I have never charted your water. You bought me a cup with measurements on it. It came that way. All cups come some way." Leah put a glass on the table anyway. She felt better without it. I turned to her. "For how long?" She had more energy. "Did you check her weight? She's not a package. Did you?" "No." "Her ankles?" "Yes." "And?" "They're a little swollen." "A little?" Rose pulled the robe tighter around her legs. I took out my phone. "I'm calling Dr. Shaw." Rose reached across the table faster than I expected and pressed her palm over the screen. "No." "Mom," I said no. "You need medical advice." "I have medical advice. It comes in every time you open your mouth. Dr. Shaw prescribed it, and he can change it at my next appointment. That's in 6 weeks. Then 6 weeks. I looked at her hand on my phone. The knuckles were enlarged with arthritis. Her wedding ring hung loose around the base of her finger. The same plain gold band she had worn through 49 years of marriage and 12 years without my father. I could have moved her hand. I could have stepped into the hallway and called. I could have done what I usually did, turned the situation into a set of actions no one else had to agree with. Instead, I said, "What do you want me to do?" The question seemed to unsettle both of them. Rose withdrew her hand. "I want you to stop treating me like a leaking appliance. That's not an action." "See? Mom, I'm trying." "Then try quietly." Leah leaned against the refrigerator with her arms crossed. The refrigerator door wasn't fully shut, and the alarm began chirping. Nobody moved to close it. Finally, I said, "I want the pills out of the trash." Leah let out a breath through her nose. "I'm not forcing anybody to swallow anything," I said. "I'm saying prescribed medicine doesn't belong mixed with old food where someone else could get into it." "Who?" Leah asked. "The burglar who breaks in for my grandmother's diuretics?" "Maintenance. A guest. Anybody. You just can't stand that she chose not to take them." "That's not what I said. It's what you mean." The refrigerator chirped again. Rose reached over with her cane and pushed the door. It swung shut. "There," she said. "I have saved us all." I gathered the packets and placed them beside her pill organizer on the counter. "I'm going to finish the faucet," I said. Leah stared at me. "Now? It's why I came." "You find all this, and your answer is plumbing?" "My answer is not to flood your downstairs neighbor." She looked as if she wanted to throw the glass at me, but wasn't willing to clean it up. I knelt beneath the sink again. My hands knew what to do, even while the rest of me did not. Shut off the supply. Loosen the compression nut. Replace the worn washer. Tighten it enough, not too much. Mechanical things punished panic. People often rewarded it. Behind me, Rose and Leah whispered. I couldn't make out all the words. I heard my name once, followed by Rose saying, "He gets that from his father. I almost asked what I got from him. Then I decided I didn't want a list." When I tested the faucet, the drip stopped. Leah stood in the doorway. "How much do I owe you?" The question was designed to insult me, and it worked. Nothing. "I can pay for a washer. It costs 23 cents. "I'll Venmo you." "Don't." "Then thank you." "You're welcome." We faced each other across the kitchen. I remembered her at 29, standing in my garage after midnight while rainwater ran from her coat. Her husband had locked her out during an argument. I had driven over before she finished explaining. The next morning, when she decided to go back, I replaced the broken porch light at their house because she said the darkness scared her. She had kissed my cheek and called me her hero. Later, after the divorce, she said I had never been there for the marriage. Both things were probably true. "You should watch her breathing," I said. Leah's jaw tightened. "I know how to look at a person. If she gets short of breath while sitting still, call me. I'll call her doctor." "Good. If her ankles get worse, I'll call." "Good. I'm not an idiot. I didn't say you were. You don't have to." Rose came into the kitchen carrying her purse. She had changed out of the robe and into navy slacks. The fabric pulled tight around her calves. "Where are you going?" I asked. "We're having lunch," she said. "You just had breakfast? Time has passed." Leah picked up her keys. I stepped toward Rose. "You don't look steady. I'm standing. You're leaning on the counter. It has offered support." Leah opened the door. "I've got her." There it was. 3 words meant to reassure me, except they'd landed like a claim. Rose kissed my cheek on her way past. "Go home, Glenn." I watched them walk down the hall, Leah shortening her steps without making it obvious. Rose held her cane in one hand and Leah's arm in the other. From behind, they looked coordinated, practiced. The packets remained on the counter. I slipped them into the side pocket of Rose's travel bag, where Leah couldn't pretend not to see them. At home, I unpacked the flashlight. Then I put it back. I called Diane and told her what I had found. She listened without interrupting, which made me add details I hadn't meant to share. The antique mall, the plastic bag, my mother's ankles, Leah lying about the doctor. When I finished, Diane asked, "Is Rose in immediate danger?" "I don't know. That isn't like you." "What isn't?" "Admitting you don't know." I walked to the window. Across the street, my neighbor was spraying his driveway with a hose, pushing one wet leaf from place to place. "I should cancel," I said. "Do you want to?" "That's not the point. It's exactly the point. My mother stopped a heart medication. Your mother made a decision. Maybe a bad one. Your daughter helped her. Also, maybe bad. What are you going to accomplish by sitting in your house waiting for them to need you?" "I could call Dr. Shaw." "Without Rose's permission?" I didn't answer. Diane's voice softened. "If you believe she's in immediate danger, go get her. Take her to the hospital. Do whatever needs doing. But if you don't, be careful you're not turning your fear into another emergency only you can manage." That sounds like something printed on a mug. "I'll buy you the mug. I'd throw it away. You'd label it first." I laughed in spite of myself. It came out rough. After we hung up, I called Rose. Leah answered. "She's resting," she said. "How was lunch?" "Fine." "What did she eat?" "Food, Dad." "Was she short of breath?" "No." "Did you put the packets back in the organizer?" Silence. "Leah?" "She said she wasn't taking them." "That isn't what I asked. I'm not having this conversation again. You didn't have it the first time. You lied about a doctor." I panicked. The admission came so quickly I almost missed it. "Why?" "Because I knew what your face would look like." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm tired, and she's tired, and neither of us wants to spend the next 3 days being supervised. I'm leaving tomorrow, I know. If she gets worse, I'll handle it." The line went dead. A minute later, my phone rang again. This time it was Rose. "You are going to that lake," she said. "Are you? Am I what? Going to be honest with me if you feel worse?" She was quiet. "Mom, I am not asking you to approve. I am asking you to believe I still own a life." "I do believe that." "No, you believe I own one as long as I operate it according to the instructions. That pill isn't my instruction. But your fear is." I closed my eyes. Her voice softened. "Go with Diane. Let your daughter take care of me. You're asking me to trust her after she lied to my face." "No," Rose said. "I'm asking you to trust me after I told you the truth. The truth would have been telling me before I found 11 doses in a garbage can. I told you when you asked. You told me after Leah lied. Must every truth arrive in a gift box? No, it just shouldn't have coffee grounds on it, Rose sighed. You have a clever answer when you're hurt. I'm not trying to be clever. That's when you're best at it. I sat on the edge of my bed beside the open suitcase. If you want me to respect your decisions, you have to let me know you're making them. I don't report to you. I'm not asking for a report. You fill out your worry in triplicate. What do you want from me? I already said, go to the lake. That's what you want me to do. I'm asking what you want from me. She was quiet long enough that I could hear television voices from Leah's living room. I want you to believe I can be unhappy with a treatment without being confused, she said. I believe that, and that my embarrassment counts as a medical problem, even if it doesn't show up on a test. I believe that too. Then why am I still arguing? Because believing you doesn't make it safe to stop the pill. Her breath moved against the phone. You see, she said, the meeting is closed. She hung up. I put my phone face down on the bed and stared at the wall until I noticed the picture hanging crooked above the dresser. I stood to fix it, then stopped with my hand halfway up. Sit down, I told myself. It sounded ridiculous in an empty room. I sat. Diane arrived the next morning at 8, carrying one canvas bag and a travel mug. I had a suitcase, a small cooler, 2 jackets, and a plastic crate containing what I considered sensible supplies. She pointed at the crate. No, you don't know what's in it. I see an extension cord. The inn is old. Electricity was available when we made the reservation. There's also bottled water. They have water. First aid supplies. They have those too. A tire gauge. She set down her mug. Glenn, are we fleeing civilization? I looked at the crate. There are granola bars. She opened her canvas bag and pulled out a chocolate-covered pretzel. Emergency ration. That'll melt. Then it becomes a beverage. She was trying to make me laugh, but she was also studying my face. You didn't sleep, she said. I slept. You changed shirts. What does that have to do with sleep? The first one was buttoned wrong. I checked the buttons on the one I was wearing. Diane reached up and flattened my collar. Have you heard from them? Leah texted at 6:30. Mom slept fine. And? That's all. Did you ask for her blood pressure, weight, and a sworn statement from a neighbor? I said thank you. Her eyebrows lifted. Then I asked if her breathing was normal. There he is. I started loading the car. The crate stayed in the garage, though I moved the tire gauge into the glove compartment when Diane wasn't looking. We had been on the highway 20 minutes when my phone buzzed in the cup holder. Diane looked at it, then at me. You can check it, she said. I know. You're driving. I know that too. She picked it up. It's an advertisement for replacement windows. What company? Would you like me to schedule an estimate? The seals in the living room are going. I'm deleting it. You don't have to delete it. She deleted it. For the next hour, my phone stayed silent. I began to resent it for behaving. Every mile north felt like a vote I couldn't take back. Diane talked about the inn, a trail along the water, and a restaurant where the menu supposedly changed every night. I answered at the right places. She finally stopped halfway through a story about a woman in her book club who had brought a 600-page biography to a meeting about a mystery novel. You're not here, she said. I'm driving. Your body is driving. The rest of you is underneath Leah's kitchen sink. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be honest. I adjusted the vent. I think I made a mistake. By coming? By leaving the pills there. What would you have done with them? Taken them to Rose's house. And then? I don't know. That answer again. I could have called Dr. Shaw. You still can. Rose told me not to. Diane watched the highway. Then this isn't about whether there's an action available. It's about whether you're willing to go against her. If she gets sick, everybody will ask why I didn't. Who's everybody? Leah, for one. Leah helped throw out the pills. That won't stop her. No, Diane said. It probably won't. She sounded so matter-of-fact that I glanced over. You're supposed to reassure me. I thought I was supposed to be honest. That rule is already becoming inconvenient. Most good ones do. We stopped at a gas station where Diane bought coffee and I called Rose from beside an ice machine that groaned every 30 seconds. She answered on the 4th ring. Are you having fun yet? She asked. We've been driving an hour. Your father could ruin a vacation before leaving the driveway. Please don't use him as a measuring device. Are you at the lake? Gas station. Very scenic. How do you feel? With my hands mostly. Mom, I feel fine. Her voice sounded normal, Maybe a little winded, but she had crossed the room to get the phone, or she hadn't. I pictured Leah handing it to her while she sat on the couch. And the fact that I couldn't know felt personal. Did you sleep flat? What kind of question is that? You sleep in the recliner when breathing is uncomfortable. I slept in a bed. Did you take the pill? No. I closed my eyes. You're going to ask every time, aren't you? She said. No. Liar. I just want you to call Dr. Shaw. I will call when the office opens Monday. His answering service, Glenn. All right. Is Diane there? She's inside. Put her on. She's buying coffee. She likes coffee. You should write that down. The ice machine groaned behind me. Mom, promise you'll call if you feel worse. I promise I will tell someone. That's not what I said. It is what I'm offering. She ended the call with drive safely, the phrase she had used since I bought my first car. I stood there listening to the deadline. Diane came out carrying 2 cups and a paper bag. She's fine? She asked. She says she is. Do you believe her? I believe she doesn't want me to know if she isn't. Diane handed me coffee. That's different. The inn was smaller than it had looked online, with green shutters and a porch that sloped enough to make the rocking chairs seem ambitious. Our room overlooked the lake. Real water, real trees, no traffic noise. Diane opened the window and took a deep breath. I tested the lock. She watched me. It sticks, I said. It's locked. It shouldn't stick. I'm going to walk down to the dock. You can either come with me or remodel the room. I went with her. The lake was gray-blue under a thin layer of cloud. At the end of the dock, Diane removed her shoes and sat with her feet above the water. I sat beside her and kept mine on. You know what I thought when you invited me? She asked. That the room might have faulty wiring? I thought this was going to be the first time I had you somewhere your family couldn't call you away from. They can call anywhere, I noticed. You knew about Rose when we started seeing each other. I did. And Leah, less so? What does that mean? Diane rested her hands on the weathered boards. Rose needs you and hates needing you. Leah doesn't need you until she does. Then she expects you to arrive before she finishes asking. You like both arrangements more than you admit. I stared at the water. That's harsh. Yes, you could have eased into it. I've been easing for 10 months. A gull landed on one of the pilings and looked at us with open contempt. I don't like being used, I said. I didn't say you did. You said I like the arrangement? You like knowing your part. The line irritated me because it sounded too much like what she had said about rooms that needed fixing. My part is to take care of my family. Your part according to whom? Myself, apparently. Diane nodded. That's what makes it hard to resign. I picked at a splinter in the dock. When Leah's marriage was falling apart, she called me because their basement flooded. Not because her husband had stopped coming home. Not because they were barely speaking. The basement? What did you do? Rented a pump. Of course you did. I spent 2 days drying the place out. She never told me anything else until she showed up at my house with garbage bags. Did you ask? I asked what was wrong. And? She said the basement smelled. Diane nudged my shoulder with hers. Maybe this is how all of you talk. With plumbing? With the thing that can be fixed. That night we ate at the restaurant she had mentioned. The menu was handwritten on a chalkboard. There were 6 items and 3 involved words I didn't recognize. What is gremolata? I asked. An Italian condition. Is it contagious? Only in expensive restaurants. I ordered pork chops without it. Diane ordered trout and convinced me to try a bite. For almost an hour, my phone stayed in my pocket. Then it buzzed. I took it out. Leah had sent a photograph of Rose sitting on her balcony. She wore sunglasses and held up a glass of iced tea. Her smile was wide, almost defiant. Beneath the picture, Leah had written, "Still alive. Try to have fun." I showed Diane. She looks happy, Diane said. She looks pale. She's always pale. Her face is puffy. Maybe. You see it too. I said maybe. I enlarged the photograph. Rose's legs were hidden beneath a light blanket despite the warm afternoon. Diane touched my wrist. Call if you need to call. I don't want to reward that message. This isn't a competition. It is to Leah. Then don't let her choose the rules. I put the phone away. We walked back to the inn after dark. Diane held my hand, and for once I didn't use the other to check my pocket every 30 seconds. In the room, she opened the window. Somewhere across the lake, music drifted from a boat. My phone rang at 2:17 in the morning. I knew the number before I saw it. Leah was crying, but quietly, as if she didn't want Rose to hear. "Dad," she said, "I need you to listen and not yell." I was already out of bed. "What happened?" "Grandma can't catch her breath." "Call 911. She says she doesn't need an ambulance." "Call anyway." I thought maybe if she sat up. "Leah, call 911 now." Rose said something in the background. Her voice was faint but unmistakably irritated. "She says no," Leah whispered. "Put me on speaker." A rustle, then Leah said, "You're on." "Mom, can you hear me? I can hear everybody. The building can hear everybody." Her words came one at a time, each separated by a small breath. "Are you sitting up?" "I am not doing jumping jacks. Can you walk across the room?" "Why would I?" "Can you?" Silence. "Mom?" "No." Diane was out of bed now, pulling on her pants. She looked at my face and reached for her phone. "Leah," I said, "call the ambulance. She'll be furious. She can be furious while breathing." Rose tried to say my name and coughed instead. "Call," I said. The line disconnected. I put on yesterday's shirt without noticing until I missed the same button twice. Diane took it out of my hands. "I can dress myself, then do it." Her voice had lost every trace of sleep. She packed our things while I called Leah back. It rang 3 times. "What's happening?" I called, she said. "They're coming. Unlock the front door. Put her medication in her purse." A pause. "Leah." "I'm looking for it." "It's in the side pocket of the travel bag." Another pause. Longer this time. "I didn't know you put it there. I told you I wanted it out of the trash." "You did that after we left." "Yes." "I thought you took it." "Look in the bag." I heard cabinets opening, then something hit the floor. "I can't find the travel bag." "Where did you unpack her?" "The guest room." "Then look there." "I am looking." Diane zipped the suitcase and set it beside the door. "Give me the keys. I'm driving." "No, I'm fine. You're yelling directions into a phone from 2 hours away." "I'm driving." From Leah's end came a knock, hard and official. "They're here. Open the door. I know." The phone bumped against something. Voices entered, calm and fast. A man asked Rose her name. Rose answered, "You just called me Rose, so this feels like a test." Relief hit me so sharply I had to sit down. She was still herself enough to be difficult. Someone asked about heart problems, medication, allergies. Leah's answers stumbled into each other. "She takes a water pill." "I don't know the name." "My dad handles all that." "I'm on the phone," I said. Nobody heard me. "Furosemide," I said louder. 20 milligrams. "She has congestive heart failure, hypertension, no known drug allergies." Leah picked up the phone. "They can hear you. Tell them she hasn't taken the furosemide in several days." Silence. "Tell them." One of the paramedics asked, "When was her last dose?" Leah said, "I'm not sure." 11 doses were missed, I said, "possibly over 2 weeks, 3 consecutive days that I know of." Rose protested in the background. "I am not discussing my bladder with a parade of men." A different voice, a woman's, said, "That's all right, Ms. Mercer. Right now, I just need you to breathe with me." Leah lowered her voice. "They're taking her." "Which hospital?" "Street. Matthews." "We're leaving now?" "Dad." "What?" I didn't know this would happen. The sentence was so naked that my anger had nowhere clean to land. "I know," I said, though I didn't. Diane drove. I sat beside her with my phone in my hand while the road unspooled inside our headlights. The world at that hour looked unfinished, dark buildings, empty exits, gas stations glowing like small aquariums. Leah texted when the ambulance arrived at the hospital. "They're taking her back." Then, "They won't let me go yet." Then, 6 minutes later, "Her oxygen is low, but she's awake." I called. She declined it. "Why won't she answer?" I said. "Because she's talking to the hospital," Diane said. "She could say that. She just did." I looked at Leah's messages again. "She should have called the ambulance before she called me." "Yes." "What if I hadn't answered?" "But you did." "That isn't the point. I know." "She knew Rose had missed the pills. She saw the swelling." "I know." "She sent me that picture with a blanket over her legs." Diane kept both hands on the wheel. "I know. Stop saying you know." "What would you like me to say?" "I don't know." "Then I'm running low on options." I turned toward the window. Fields and trees passed to shapes without detail. After a while, Diane said, You can be angry and scared at the same time. I'm not scared, she glanced at me. All right, I said, I'm scared. You don't have to choose one before we get there. I should have stayed. Maybe. The word struck harder than reassurance would have. I looked at her. You think I should have? I think you had reasons to stay and reasons to go. You chose to go. We don't know yet what that means. If she dies, I know what it means. No, you know what you'll call it. I rubbed my hands over my face. Diane's voice softened. Don't spend the whole drive building a room where you can punish yourself. Rose may need you in the real one. At St. Matthew's, the emergency entrance lights made everyone look pale. Leah was standing near the vending machines in the same cream-colored pants she had worn that morning. There was a brown stain down one leg. Her hair was tied into a loose knot, and one shoe was darker than the other, as if she had stepped in water. She saw me and stood. Where is she? They're giving her oxygen and something through an IV. They said fluid. I know what they said. Where is she? Room 9, but we have to wait. I started toward the doors. A nurse stopped me, checked Rose's name, and told me only one person could be at the bedside. I'm her son. I'm sorry. We can switch you out in a few minutes, Leah said. I was with her when it happened. I turned. She looked as surprised as I felt, as if the sentence had escaped before she could decide whether to say it. Then go, I said. She disappeared through the doors. Diane sat beside me in the waiting area. There were 4 other people, a television showing a cooking program with the sound off, and a vending machine humming loudly enough to feel hostile. I went to the restroom and splashed water on my face. When I looked in the mirror, my shirt was buttoned wrong. I fixed it. When I returned, Diane had bought crackers and 2 bottles of water. I'm not hungry. They're not a legal obligation. I sat. Leah's pants are wet. I saw. Rose must have had an accident. Probably. She stayed with her. Yes. It should not have surprised me. Leah loved her grandmother. Leah could be vain, defensive, and careless. But she wasn't made of paper. Still, I had expected to find her clean and frantic, standing several feet from the unpleasant parts. 20 minutes later, Leah came out. She wants you. I stood. What did the doctor say? They're getting the fluid off. They think she'll be admitted. Did you tell them about the pills? They know she missed some. How many? Her eyes moved toward Diane, then back to me. Can we not do this here? That depends on whether you gave them the right information. They're treating her. That isn't an answer. A nurse pushed through the doors and called, Mr. Mercer? I followed her before Leah could respond. Rose lay propped upright in the narrow bed, an oxygen tube beneath her nose and wires disappearing under her gown. Without lipstick, her mouth seemed smaller. Her hair was flattened on one side. She looked at me and said, You buttoned your shirt wrong. I fixed it. Then why is the bottom uneven? I looked down. She was right. You're very observant for somebody causing this much trouble. I told them I didn't want an ambulance. That isn't the defense you think it is. She closed her eyes. The nurse adjusted the cuff on Rose's arm. We need to review her medication history. Your daughter said you normally organize everything. I fill the weekly container. And do you supervise the doses? Not everyone. She wasn't sure when the furosemide was last taken. I am. Rose opened her eyes. I kept my voice level. My mother chose to stop taking it because of urinary urgency. My daughter knew and helped her discard the doses. I found 11 unopened packets in my daughter's kitchen trash yesterday. The nurse's expression didn't change, but her pen stopped. Rose turned her face toward the wall. Was the prescribing physician notified? The nurse asked. No. Any dose taken since yesterday? No. The nurse wrote it down. Thank you. That's important. She left us alone. Rose stared toward the curtained doorway. You didn't have to say it like that. How should I have said it, as if I were in the room? You are in the room. That's why I told the truth. Her fingers picked at the edge of the blanket. I didn't ask Leah to lie, she said. No. You only asked her to help you keep it from me. That's not the same thing. No, I said. It's just how we got here. When I stepped back into the hall, Leah was waiting. What did you tell them? She asked. The medication history. Her face tightened. You made it sound like I did this to her. You helped. She asked me to. And when they asked what happened, you told them I handled her pills. I panicked. You keep saying that as if panic has been making all your decisions. I was trying to protect her. From what? From you turning this into exactly what you've turned it into. I looked through the narrow window in the door. Rose sat beneath fluorescent lights, breathing oxygen through a clear plastic tube. This, I said, was already here when I arrived. Leah looked through the same window. I thought she'd be okay, she said. That isn't the same as protecting her. She was okay. She was happier, for 2 afternoons. You didn't see her? No. You made sure I didn't. She turned toward me. You went to the lake, because both of you told me to, and you couldn't wait to prove you could. That's not what happened, isn't it? The question landed too close to one I'd been asking myself for the entire drive. Before I could answer, Rose called from behind the curtain. Leah? Leah glanced toward the door. Rose called her again, louder this time. I stepped aside. She wants you. You can go. She asked for you. I've been in there for hours. So go home. I can't go home. Why not? She looked down at her stained pants. Because I don't have my keys. Where are they? On my kitchen counter. You left your condo without keys? I left with paramedics, Rose called again. Leah pushed through the door. I stayed in the hall until a nurse asked me to move, then joined Diane in the waiting room. She handed me a bottle of water. You two get everything solved? She asked. We've narrowed it down to mutual blame. Progress. I sat beside her. The cooking show had become a commercial for knives. A smiling man sliced a tomato so thin I could see the studio lights through it. She called for Leah, I said. Rose? Yes. Diane twisted the cap off her own water. That bothered you? No. It's all right if it did. She was with Leah when this happened, which could be why she called her, or she didn't want me. Also possible. I gave her a look. You keep asking for honesty, she said. You don't get to return it because the color is wrong. The emergency department became louder as morning arrived. Phones rang. Rubber soles squeaked. Somewhere behind the doors, a man began shouting that he had been waiting since Christmas. A woman at the desk told him it was July. Leah appeared 40 minutes later, wearing hospital scrub pants under her sweater. The cream-colored pants were inside a clear plastic bag. They gave me these, she said. I looked at the bag. Was that from Mom? She couldn't get to the bathroom. You should wash those in cold water first. Leah's mouth fell open. Thank you. This is exactly the information I was missing. I was trying to help. I know. She dropped into the chair across from us. Diane offered her crackers. Leah took them, which was how I knew she was exhausted. What happened at the condo? I asked. Leah stared at the wrapper. She woke me up a little after 1. She was sitting on the edge of the guest bed. She said the room felt stuffy. Did she have the window open? No. Was she coughing? Dad. I need to know. No, you need to collect enough details to build a version where you could have prevented it. I started to answer, but Diane touched my arm. Leah peeled the cracker wrapper into a long strip. I turned on the fan, she said. I helped her walk to the living room. She made it about 6 steps and stopped. I thought she was dizzy, but she said she couldn't get a full breath. Then she had an accident. Her voice changed on the last word. She kept apologizing to me. She could barely breathe, and she was worried about my floor. The bag of wet pants sat upright between Leah's shoes. I cleaned her up, she continued. She wouldn't let me call an ambulance. She said you would find out, like that was the emergency. I looked toward the double doors. Why did you call me first? Because I didn't know what to do. You knew. No, I knew what you would do. That's the same thing. It isn't. Diane stood. I'm going to get coffee. Neither of us asked her to stay. Leah leaned forward, elbows on her knees. When I was cleaning the floor, Grandma kept saying, "Don't tell your father." She calls me Glenn. She was confused. That frightened me more than anything else Leah had said. Did you tell the nurse? Yes. Good. Leah looked up. You sound surprised. I'm not. You are. I said good. She laughed once, without humor. You always find a way to make approval feel like an inspection sticker. That's not fair. You said that yesterday. It wasn't fair then either. Diane returned with 3 coffees and set one in front of each of us. They're admitting Rose. A nurse came out looking for you. We stood at the same time. Upstairs, Rose was moved into a narrow room with a window facing the top level of the parking garage. The oxygen had put some color back in her face, and the medicine through her IV was doing what the discarded pills had been meant to do, less dramatically. A clear container beside the bed was filling with pale yellow urine. Rose noticed me noticing. If you make one comment about output, I'll pull that thing out myself. I wasn't going to. You thought it in complete sentences. Leah placed Rose's purse on the chair. Rose pointed at the plastic bag in her hand. What's that? Nothing. Looks like my crime scene. It's my pants. I'm sorry. You already apologized. I can do it again. Your father does. I looked out the window. A physician came in a little after 7. Dr. Brenner was a compact woman with silver hair and orange-framed glasses. She spoke directly to Rose, which made Rose sit straighter. You gave us a scare, she said. I was more annoyed than scared. Annoyance is good. It takes oxygen. Rose smiled faintly. Dr. Brenner explained that fluid had built up because Rose's body wasn't clearing it well. Missing the diuretic had almost certainly contributed. She did not lecture. That seemed to disappoint Rose, who had prepared herself to resist one. There may be ways to change the timing or adjust the medication, Dr. Brenner said, but those decisions need to happen with your cardiologist, not in a kitchen. Rose glanced at me. I said nothing. Dr. Brenner asked why she had stopped it. Rose described the urgency and the accident at the antique mall. Her voice stayed brisk until she mentioned the woman with the plastic bag. Then it thinned. I understand wanting to avoid that, Dr. Brenner said, but we need to solve both problems. Your dignity and your breathing aren't competitors. I saw Leah look at me. It was the sentence I should have found before insisting one danger outweighed the other. How long am I staying? Rose asked. At least tonight. Maybe tomorrow night. I don't have my face cream. I'll get it, Leah said immediately. And my blue nightgown. Not the flannel, I know. The flannel makes me look institutional. You're in a hospital, I said. Rose turned to Dr. Brenner. He was a very sweet boy. I still am. No, now you label soup. Dr. Brenner hid a smile and left us with instructions that a nurse would be back. Leah picked up Rose's purse. I'll go get your things. You don't have your keys, I said. She closed her eyes. I have the spare, I added. In your car? At home. Of course. Diane was leaning against the wall near the window, drinking bad coffee without complaint. I'll take her, I said. No, Rose said. All 3 of us looked at her. She adjusted the blanket over her legs. Leah stays. She needs clothes. You go get them. Mom, I don't know where Leah keeps your face cream. Bathroom counter, left side, white jar, blue lid. There are 7 blue nightgowns, the one without lace. That leaves 5. Leah began to stand. I can go. Rose reached for her wrist. Stay. The request was quiet. Leah sat back down. I understood then. Rose wasn't choosing Leah over me. She was afraid the moment Leah left, I would take over and turn the whole disaster into proof that only I could be trusted. She was holding Leah there to keep our family arrangement from snapping back into its old shape. All right, I said. I handed Diane my car keys. Would you mind taking me? She looked at them, but didn't take them. I've been awake all night, too. I felt heat rise into my face. Right? Sorry. Leah reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. I can call a car. No, I said. I'll do it. I'm capable of using an app. I didn't say you weren't. Rose sank deeper into the pillow. If either of you says that one more time, I'm transferring hospitals. I ordered a ride. In the elevator, Diane stood beside me with her canvas bag over one shoulder. You should go to my place and sleep, I said. What are you doing? Getting their things. After that, I'll come back. That wasn't my question. The doors opened to the lobby. We stepped aside for a man pushing an empty wheelchair. Diane said, I can stay at your house for a few hours, or I can drive home. But I'm not going to sit in the hospital while you and Leah use me as the neutral country between you. We're not using you. Glenn, I looked at her. You brought me on a trip to prove you could leave, she said. Then you spent the trip waiting to be called back. I'm sorry Rose is sick. I'll help where I can, but I won't make this easier by pretending nothing happened between us. The sliding doors opened, letting in a blast of warm morning air. What happened between us? I asked. You disappeared while sitting next to me. The car I had ordered pulled to the curb. Diane kissed my cheek. Get some sleep before you decide everybody else is the problem. She took my keys and left in my car. I watched until the taillights disappeared. At Leah's condo, the faucet no longer dripped. The kitchen had been cleaned, but the medication packets were gone from the travel bag. I found them stacked beside the toaster, exactly where I had placed them before moving them. On top of the pile, Leah had left a yellow sticky note. "Do not put these back." I stood in the silent kitchen holding the note. Then I opened her hall closet to find Rose's coat and saw 3 more unopened pharmacy packets on the floor beneath it. They were the same white pharmacy packets, each labeled with Rose's name, and the same 20-milligram dose. The dates were earlier than the ones I had pulled from the trash. I crouched in Leah's closet and turned them over, as if the backs might explain how they had gotten there. One packet had a smear of pink lipstick near the tear line. Another was bent in half. None had been opened. I checked the pocket of Rose's coat and found a peppermint, a folded receipt from the antique mall, and a handkerchief that smelled faintly of her face powder. No more pills. For one ugly second, I felt vindicated. 14 missed doses sounded worse than 11. 14 gave me a number large enough to stand on. I could take it back to the hospital, set it in front of Leah, and prove that her version of compassionate rebellion had lasted longer than she admitted. Then I caught myself planning the presentation. Diane's voice came back to me. "You don't have to choose one before we get there." I was choosing anger because it had handrails. I put the 3 packets with the others in a clear food storage bag, folded Leah's sticky note, and slipped it inside. Then I packed Rose's white jar with the blue lid, the navy nightgown without lace, slippers, a clean robe, and a lipstick I found standing beside Leah's toothbrush. For Leah, I chose black pants, a gray sweater, underwear, and flat shoes. I opened 3 drawers before finding everything. It felt more invasive than going through her trash, though the trash had been accidental. On her dresser stood a framed photograph from her wedding. Leah was laughing at something outside the picture. Her former husband had one hand at her waist, and his face turned toward her, but not quite far enough to be looking at her. I had fixed the loose stand on that frame twice. A car horn sounded downstairs. At the hospital, Leah was asleep in the chair beside Rose's bed, her head tipped against the wall, and her mouth slightly open. Rose was awake, staring at the plastic container beside the bed with grim concentration. "You're back," she said. I said I would be. "Did you bring the right nightgown?" "I brought 5. We're starting a fashion show at noon." She smiled, then noticed the overnight bag in my hand. "What's in the other bag?" "Leah's clothes." "No, the clear one." Leah woke at the sound of her name. She straightened and looked around as if expecting to find herself somewhere else. I set the overnight bag on the windowsill and held up the clear bag of pharmacy packets. "I found 3 more under your coat in Leah's hall closet." Leah stood. "What?" "They're dated before you came to stay with her." Rose's eyes moved to the packets. Leah took the bag from me. "I've never seen these. Your note was on the others. I left that because you put them back like we were going to start giving them to her. Did you throw these 3 on the closet floor?" "No." "Glenn," Rose said. I looked at her. "I put them in my coat pocket." Leah turned. "When?" "The antique mall." "And the lunch before that?" "One might be from the library concert. You told me you only started skipping them after the accident." I said some were from before. "You made it sound like a few days." "It was a few days. They simply weren't all together. That sentence doesn't even mean anything." Rose picked at the tape holding her IV in place. "I didn't want to spend the concert running to the restroom." Leah wasn't involved. Leah stared at her. "You were already doing this?" "I didn't think it was important. You had pills in my coat closet. They must have fallen out." "Grandma." "What?" "I thought this was something we decided." Rose looked away. The silence between them was different from the ones between Leah and me. I had been so certain of their alliance that I hadn't considered they might each believe they were leading it. Leah set the bag on the rolling table. "You let me fight with him over something you were already hiding." "I didn't let you do anything. You're an adult." Interesting time to remember. I almost said something. Instead, I opened Leah's clothing bag and handed it to her. She took it without thanks and went into the bathroom. Rose looked at the closed door. "She's sensitive when she's tired?" She thought she was protecting a choice you made together. We did make it together, later. You let her believe she was the one who gave you permission. "I don't require permission." "No, but she needed to feel useful." Rose looked at me then. "Does that run in the family?" I pulled the visitor chair closer and sat. "You don't get to use my faults as an all-purpose solvent." "What does that mean?" "It means every time I question what you did, you bring up my labels, my lists, my father, the way I help. Some of it is true. It doesn't dissolve what you did. I was the one who couldn't hold her bladder in public." "I know. You say that as if knowing and feeling are neighbors. I looked at the oxygen tube beneath her nose. I don't know what it felt like. She rubbed the edge of the blanket between her fingers. The woman with the plastic bag wouldn't stop smiling, she said. That made it worse. If she'd been disgusted, I could have hated her. But she was kind. She stood between me and the aisle while Leah went for clothes. I waited. Your father was incontinent at the end, Rose continued. He would cry when I changed the sheets, quietly. He thought I didn't see. I didn't know that. He didn't want you to. Everybody seems very committed to protecting me from information. He wanted you to remember him standing. I remember him throwing a shoe at the television because the Indians lost. Guardians of his dignity, all of us. Her mouth twitched. I leaned forward. You are allowed to hate the pill. You are allowed to tell the doctor you won't take it. But you aren't allowed to make Leah hide it and then leave me responsible for a medication plan that isn't happening. I didn't leave you responsible. At the hospital, she told them I handle your pills. She was frightened. So was I. Rose looked surprised. It shouldn't have hurt, but it did. You don't look frightened, she said. What do I look like? Busy. The bathroom door opened. Leah came out wearing the clothes I had packed. The black pants were too formal with the gray sweater, and the flat shoes didn't match either. She looked down at herself. Did you dress me for a parole hearing? I chose things that were clean. You went through my underwear. I closed my eyes. You did not. I considered it. Rose laughed, then coughed. The laugh disappeared before either of us could decide whether it was safe. A nurse came in to check her blood pressure and oxygen. She asked Rose to use the call button before getting out of bed. I have 2 attendants, Rose said. You have 2 tired relatives, the nurse replied. Use the button. After she left, Leah moved toward the chair. You should go home and shower, I said. She stopped. Are you dismissing me? I'm saying you've been awake all night. So have you. I can stay while you shower. You'll turn this into a conference. I won't, Rose said. He will. I'm sitting right here. That has never prevented you from organizing me. Leah picked up her purse. I'll be 2 hours. Take 3, I said. Don't tell me how long to shower. I meant sleep. I know what you meant. She bent to kiss Rose, and Rose held onto her sleeve. You're coming back? Leah's expression softened. Of course. After she left, Rose watched the doorway for several seconds. She's angry with me, she said. Yes. She'll recover. Maybe. You think she won't? I think you keep assuming love erases the bill. Rose turned toward me. That sounds rehearsed. It wasn't. Then Diane is good for you. I looked out at the parking garage. Where is she? At my house. You sent her away? She left. Because of this? Because I spent our trip waiting for this. Rose's face tightened. I told you to go. You also arranged it so I couldn't. That isn't fair. No, it isn't. She stared at me, and I saw the temptation to argue. Instead, she said, I'm sorry. I waited for the explanation that usually followed. It didn't come. I sat back. Rose closed her eyes. I never liked you seeing me need things. I've been seeing it for years. No. You see tasks, not need? Is there a difference? To the person needing, there is. The monitor beside her bed pulsed green. A cart rattled past in the hall. What do you need now? I asked. Her eyelids opened. It was the same question that had unsettled her in Leah's kitchen. This time, she considered it. I need to use the bathroom, she said. I reached for the call button. And I need you not to stand outside the door, asking if I'm all right every 10 seconds. I can manage 12, 20, 15, fine. The nurse helped her to the bathroom while I waited by the window. I counted silently and did not ask once. When Rose returned to bed, she was breathing harder. I adjusted the blanket without comment. You can sleep, she said. So can you. I'm not the one with a shirt button wrong. I looked down. It's right now. The top is right, the bottom is still crooked. That's the shirt. Blame the equipment. She slept for almost an hour. I watched cars circle the parking garage and tried not to turn her breathing into arithmetic. My phone buzzed. A message from Diane. I'm at your house. I fed the fern because it looked judgmental. I'm going to sleep. We'll talk later. I typed, thank you, then deleted it because it seemed too small. I wrote, I'm sorry I left before we left. I stared at the words, unsure whether they made sense, and sent them anyway. Leah returned after noon carrying 3 shopping bags, 2 coffees, and a new robe for Rose. You bought her a robe? I asked. The one you packed was ugly. It's the robe she owns. She also owns a decorative goose. Ownership doesn't prove judgment. Rose woke as Leah removed the new robe from tissue paper. It was deep blue, soft, and completely impractical for an IV. Oh, Rose said, touching the sleeve. That's beautiful. Leah smiled for the first time all morning. Then she looked at me. I have work tomorrow. I waited. I missed today. I can stay tonight, but I have a client call at 9 and another at 11. All right, so if they discharge her tomorrow, she should go to your place. Rose's hand stopped on the blue sleeve. Leah continued. Just for a few days, until she's stronger. There it was again. The bright, reasonable handoff. I looked at the clear bag of unopened medication packets on the rolling table. No, I said. Both women stared at me as if I had spoken in a language they had never heard from me before. Leah blinked. No, what? No, she's not automatically going to my place. Rose's fingers tightened around the sleeve of the new robe. I didn't say automatically, Leah said. I said for a few days. Which days? What? Which days do you mean? I don't understand the question. Tomorrow through when? Until she's better. And who decides that? Leah looked at Rose, then at me. Why are you talking like this? Like what? Like I've submitted a proposal with incorrect margins. I'm asking what you're actually asking me to do. I'm asking you to let your mother recover at your house. You're asking me to take over. I stayed with her all night, and I'm grateful. You don't sound grateful. Gratitude isn't the same as agreement. Rose dropped the robe onto the bed. I can go to my own house. The bathroom wall is open, I said. Then close it. It doesn't work that way. Walls have been opened and closed for centuries. The water may still be off. Turn it on. The plumber turns it on. Call him. Leah paced to the window and back. Fine. She goes to her house, and you stay there. No. Her pacing stopped. I can stay some nights, I said. So can you. I have work. So do other people. You're retired. That doesn't make my time unowned. I didn't say it was unowned. You assumed it was available. I have 2 client calls tomorrow. You know my business has been slow. I know. If I keep canceling, I won't have clients. I'm not asking you to cancel. Take the calls from Mom's house. I need my computer. Bring it. My setup is at home. Then take them from home and come back. Leah stared at me. Do you hear yourself? Yes. You're assigning me shifts. No. I'm refusing all of them. Rose pressed the call button. A voice came through the speaker. How can I help you? I need a different family, she said. There was a pause. I'm sorry. I need the restroom. We'll be right in. Rose released the button. That system needs 2 buttons. Leah sat beside her. Grandma, you can stay with me. I looked at her. What? She said. You win. This isn't winning. It looks a lot like it from here. You just said you need to work. I'll work. And take care of her? Yes. Like before? Rose turned sharply. Enough. The word cut through the room. You will not use me to punish each other, she said. I'm not, Leah said. You are. Both of you. Glenn is discovering the word no and waving it around like a new cane. You're offering things with your teeth clenched. Neither is attractive. The nurse came in with a portable oxygen monitor. She looked from one face to another. Bad time? Do you have that second button? Rose asked. The nurse helped her stand. Rose's knees trembled. Leah moved to one side, and I moved to the other. I only need one, Rose said. We both let go. She reached for Leah. I stepped back. The 2 of them moved slowly toward the bathroom, Rose shuffling in hospital socks while Leah guided the IV pole. Halfway there, Rose stopped. Don't rush, Leah said. I'm not. You're squeezing my hand. That is communication, not panic. They made it inside. Leah pulled the door mostly closed behind them. The nurse checked the monitor and left me beside the empty bed. On the rolling table, the clear bag of pills lay against the blue robe. The yellow sticky note showed through the plastic. Do not put these back. It could have meant, do not restart the medication, do not restore the old arrangement, or simply, do not touch my things. With Leah, all 3 were possible. From the bathroom came a muffled curse. I took one step toward the door and stopped. I'm okay, Rose called. I hadn't asked. Leah emerged 10 minutes later carrying a tied plastic bag. Her face was flushed. I need to throw this away, she said. I moved aside. When Rose was settled again, she refused lunch and asked us both to leave. I can stay quietly, I said. That has never been your gift. Leah stood. I'm not leaving you alone. I am in a hospital. If I manage to be alone here, they are doing a poor job. We'll be downstairs, I said. No, go home, shower, sleep, become less irritating. Leah looked at me. She's right, I said. About which one of us? Both. We walked to the elevators without speaking. Leah carried the plastic bag with her wet pants because she refused to leave it in the room. On the ground floor, she stopped near the gift shop. I didn't know about the first 3 pills, she said. I believe you. You said that very fast. Would you rather I argue? I'd rather know whether you mean it. I mean it. She rubbed her forehead. I thought she skipped it with me because I listened to her. She did. She'd already decided. Yes. So, I wasn't helping her choose. I was helping her hide it. I leaned against the wall. She needed both, I said. Someone to make the choice feel reasonable and someone to keep it hidden from. And you think I was stupid enough to volunteer? I think you liked being the person she wanted. Leah looked toward the gift shop window. A row of stuffed bears held red hearts between their paws. She never wanted me when I was younger, she said. That isn't true. She wanted you to bring me over. She wanted pictures at Christmas. She wanted me once I was old enough to sit still in restaurants. She wasn't comfortable around children. I'm aware. The word carried years inside it. I had brought Leah to Rose's house on weekends after my divorce. Rose would set out glass candy dishes, tell Leah not to touch the piano, and ask why she couldn't sit like a lady. I used to take Leah into the garage and find small jobs for her, sorting screws, holding a flashlight, because work was easier than confronting my mother. She was hard on you, I said. She was hard on everybody. You just earned points. I learned the rules. Anne taught them to me. I looked at her. She folded the plastic bag smaller. Now she calls me because I take her places. She tells people I brought her back to life. And that feels good, wouldn't it? Yes. The answer surprised her. A couple came out of the gift shop holding balloons. We stepped apart to let them pass. I didn't throw away the pills because I wanted her sick, Leah said. I know. I thought I was choosing the thing that hurt her less. You chose the hurt you could see. Her eyes narrowed. There's the lecture. It wasn't meant as one. Everything from you is a lecture if it has a conclusion. I almost defended myself. Instead, I said, that was a conclusion? Leah gave a tired laugh. Diane teach you that? No, she's currently reconsidering her investment. Because you came back? Because I never really left. Leah studied me for a moment. That sounds miserable enough to be true. Outside, we stood under the hospital awning while she ordered a car. The morning heat had thickened and the concrete smelled damp, even though it hadn't rained. Are you going back to your condo? I asked. I'm going to work for a few hours. You should sleep. I should have clients next month. You can't stay tonight if you don't sleep. I thought you weren't assigning shifts. I'm not. You're exhausting. So I've heard. Her car pulled up. Before she got in, I said, Leah. She turned. If Mom goes to your place, that can't be because I said no. It has to be because you actually want to do it. Those are not separate things anymore. They have to be. She shut the car door without answering. At home, I found Diane asleep on top of the bedspread, fully dressed, one arm over her eyes. My car keys were on the nightstand beside a glass of water. The fern on the windowsill looked exactly as judgmental as she had described. I took off my shoes and sat in the chair across from the bed. Diane opened one eye. Is Rose all right? She's stable. Good. Leah wanted her to come here after discharge. And? I said no. Both eyes opened. You sound impressed with yourself, she said. I'm not. A little. Maybe a little. Diane sat up. Her hair had flattened on one side. It was the least composed I had ever seen her. Was no the right answer? She asked. I don't know. Why did you say it? Because Leah assumed I would take over. That explains why you wanted to say it. It was also true. What was true? I can't keep being the automatic answer. Diane nodded slowly. That part sounds true. The rest doesn't. The rest sounds angry. I am angry. You're allowed. You keep saying that? Because you keep acting like anger gives you instructions. I leaned back in the chair. What am I supposed to do? Take Rose home and teach Leah that if she waits long enough, I'll clean up everything? No. Then what? Make a plan when you're not trying to make a point. I rubbed my eyes. Rose says we're using her to punish each other. Are you? Leah is. Diane waited. And I might be, I said. She moved to one side of the bed and patted the mattress. I lay down beside her, still in my clothes. I'm sorry about the trip, I said. So am I. I'll make it up to you. That sounds like another repair. What should I say? Say you understand why I'm upset. I understand you don't. I'm working toward it. That I believe. She took my hand, but she didn't tell me everything was fine. I slept until my phone rang shortly after 4. Leah's name was on the screen. Did they call you? She asked. No. They're talking about discharging her tomorrow afternoon if her oxygen stays up. All right. She says she's going home. The water may not be on. I called the plumber. He can finish by noon. I sat up. You called him? Yes, Dad. I located a phone and used it. Did he say the bathroom would be usable? He said the toilet and sink will work. The wall won't be finished. That's enough. I told Grandma I'll stay the first night. I waited. You don't have to sound so surprised, she said. I didn't say anything. You have a very loud silence. I can stay the second night. I have work late the second night. Then I'll come earlier. And during the day, we split it. How? We'll talk when we're all in the same room. She exhaled. You mean make a plan? Yes. Without making a point? I glanced at Diane, who was awake beside me. That's the idea. The next afternoon, Rose was discharged, wearing the deep blue robe over her clothes because she insisted the hospital was too cold to waste it. Leah pushed the wheelchair while I carried the overnight bag. Rose held the clear bag of unopened packets in her lap. At the curb, I opened the passenger door of Leah's car. Rose didn't move. What? Leah asked. Rose looked down at the packets. If I go home, she said, I don't want either of you counting these in front of me. I'm not counting them, Leah said. I already did, I said. Rose gave me a look. 14, I added. Glenn, you asked for no counting in the future. Leah laughed before she could stop herself. Rose's mouth twitched, but she tightened her grip on the bag. Then she looked at both of us and said, You understand, I may still refuse that pill. Yes, I said. Leah hesitated. Yes. And you won't whisper about me in my own kitchen. No, I said. Leah looked away. Rose noticed. That was not a complicated question. No, Leah said finally. We won't. Rose handed me the clear bag. I expected her to let go. She didn't. For several seconds, we each held one end between us. Then she said, I need you to keep them, Glenn. I don't trust myself not to make Leah choose again. I let go of my end of the bag. Rose almost dropped it. You said you wanted me to keep them. I do. Then you have to let me hold them. Her grip loosened. I took the bag and tucked it into the overnight case, separate from the active medications the hospital had sent home. Rose watched until I zipped the case. That felt dramatic, she said. It was a plastic bag. Flags are cloth. People manage. Leah helped her into the car. I folded the wheelchair and returned it to the entrance, then followed them to Rose's house. The plumber's truck was still at the curb when we arrived. The bathroom had working water, a new section of pipe, and a rectangular hole in the wall covered with clear plastic. Fine dust coated the hallway despite a drop cloth. Rose took one look at it and said, It appears you've built me a window into nothing. It isn't finished, I said. I gathered that from the absence of wall. Leah opened the passenger door, but Rose didn't move. What's wrong? I asked. I need the bathroom. I'll get the walker. There's no time for equipment. Leah slid one arm around her waist. Put your arm over my shoulder. I'll crush you. You weigh less than my coffee table. That's a rude thing to say about both of us. They made it through the front door while I carried the bags. Rose's steps were short and urgent. Leah kept pace without hurrying her. At the bathroom, Rose said, Wait outside. I'll be right here. Farther than right here. Leah backed into the hall and pulled the door almost closed. I stood near the kitchen, holding the overnight case and the new robe, suddenly unnecessary. A week earlier, I would have considered that a failure. Leah glanced at me. Can you put her things in the bedroom? I know where her bedroom is. I didn't say you didn't. We stared at each other. From inside the bathroom, Rose called, I will climb out the window. There is no window, I said, then the hole in the wall. Leah covered her mouth, but I saw the laugh. I carried the bags to the bedroom. The house smelled like plaster dust and the lemon polish Rose had used on the same furniture for 30 years. Her bed was made. The robe she had worn before staying with Leah lay across the foot, and a paperback mystery rested face down on the nightstand, spine bent backward. I turned it over and closed it properly. Then I reopened it to the same page because I knew Rose would complain that I'd lost her place. In the kitchen, Leah was wiping dust from the table with a damp cloth. My labeled soup containers still occupied most of the refrigerator. I set the active medications on the counter. "Did the hospital say when she takes this dose?" Leah asked. "It's on the instructions. I'm asking you." "Morning, after breakfast." "Can it be later if she has an appointment?" "That's a question for the cardiologist." "So no, I didn't say no. You said the doctor has custody of the answer." "Leah." She threw the cloth into the sink. "I'm trying to figure out how we keep this from happening again." "So am I." "No. You're trying to restore the old system. That system kept fluid out of her lungs and kept her trapped in the house. We can change the schedule, plan shorter outings, call ahead about bathrooms. You're making a list. I'm answering your question." Rose appeared in the doorway, one hand against the frame. Could my recovery include sitting down? We both moved toward her. She waved us off and walked to the table on her own. Leah put a cushion behind her back. I poured water without asking, and immediately wondered whether that counted as taking over. Rose drank half of it. "Now," she said, "you are going to make a plan in which I am not a piece of luggage. We need to decide who stays with you," I said. "I don't need anyone staying. You got home 11 minutes ago and nearly lost a race to your toilet. I won." "Mom?" "What?" Leah sat beside her. "Just for a couple nights." Rose looked at the two of us. "And if I say no?" I started to answer, then stopped. Leah said, "I'll worry. I'm surrounded by emotional blackmail." I said, "Worry, not die." Rose looked at me. "What will you do?" "Probably come over anyway. At least you're honest." "You asked me to keep the pills because you don't trust yourself not to pull Leah into another secret. I don't trust myself to sleep if you're here alone tonight. That makes two weaknesses and no medical argument. It's what I have." She studied me, then turned to Leah. "You stay tonight. He stays tomorrow. After that, we renegotiate." Leah nodded. Rose pointed at me. "You leave after dinner." "I can stay until you're settled." "I will never be settled while you're standing in my kitchen looking for danger." "I'm not looking for danger." "You checked the stove twice." "The plumber may have bumped something." "He worked in the bathroom. People move." Leah said, "Dad, go home. It's 4:30. You've been awake since yesterday." "So have you." I slept in the chair. That wasn't sleep. Your mouth was open. Her face went blank. "You watch me sleep?" I looked at you. "Did I drool?" Rose said. "A little." I did not. "On the left side." Leah wiped her mouth before she realized what she was doing. Rose smiled. I heated soup for all three of us. Rose ate 6 spoonfuls and moved the rest around. Leah tried to give her bread. Rose said bread was how people disguise soup they didn't want. When I cleared the bowls, I caught Leah watching Rose's breathing. She caught me catching her. Neither of us said anything. At 7, I put the clear bag of discarded packets in my car. The current doses remained on the kitchen counter beside the discharge instructions. Leah walked me to the front porch. "You don't have to keep those old packets," she said. "Rose asked me to. She asked you to keep them, not preserve them for trial." "I'm not putting anybody on trial. You brought them into her hospital room. I found 3 you didn't know about, and you enjoyed that." The accusation stopped me. "No," I said. "You did for half a second." I remembered crouching in her closet, feeling the hard little relief of having a larger number. "For half a second," I admitted. Leah leaned against the porch post. "At least you know," she said. "That doesn't mean I'm collecting evidence." "What does it mean?" "I don't know yet." She looked through the screen door toward the kitchen. "I almost lost her," she said. "We both did." "No. I mean, she was in my guest room, and I was responsible. I waited. I kept telling myself her ankles were always swollen. I put the blanket over them because she said the air conditioning was cold." "In the picture?" Leah nodded. "I wasn't hiding them from you." "All right, but when I sent it, I knew you'd see the blanket and wonder. So, it was a little bit for me. Everything is a little bit for you, Dad. That's the problem," Rose called from inside. "Leah?" "I'm here," she answered immediately. I went home. Diane had left. Her travel mug was clean beside the sink. and the chocolate-covered pretzel sat on a plate in the refrigerator so it wouldn't melt. I called her. "Is this the report?" she asked. "Rose is home. And? Leah's staying tonight? I'm staying tomorrow. That sounds almost reasonable. It took 3 hours. Reasonable is slow in your family." I opened the refrigerator and looked at the pretzel. "When can I see you?" "You're seeing Rose tomorrow." That wasn't what I asked. A pause. "Thursday," she said. "Dinner? Your place?" "Neutral territory. Somewhere without tools." "I can leave them in the car. You have tools on your keychain. It's a screwdriver. It's 3 screwdrivers. We agreed on a restaurant. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a reservation." The next morning, I arrived at Rose's house at 8:15, carrying breakfast from the diner. Leah's car was in the driveway. The curtains were closed. I let myself in quietly. Leah was asleep on the couch wearing yesterday's sweater and one sock. A folded towel lay beneath her head. On the coffee table were an empty mug, a roll of paper towels, and the hospital instructions covered with notes in her handwriting. 6:40 bathroom. 7:05 bathroom. 7:35 almost didn't make it. Underneath, she had written, "Call about timing" in capital letters. I stood there reading until Leah opened her eyes. "You're early," she whispered. "It's 8:15. She finally went to sleep at 7:40. What happened? What do you think happened? I set the breakfast bag down. Leah sat up and found her missing sock beneath the couch. She took the pill at 6:30 because she said you would ask. Then she had to go 4 times in an hour. The last time she started crying before she stood up. I looked toward the hallway. "She wouldn't let me help her change," Leah continued. "Then she couldn't get her pants over her feet, so she yelled at me for waiting outside. 'Why didn't you call?' 'Because I said I could do it.' That doesn't mean you can't call. It does to you." "No, it doesn't." She looked at me. "All right," I said. "Maybe it used to." Leah rubbed both hands over her face. "I almost called 3 times. Why didn't you?" "Because I knew you'd come." There it was again. The sentence could mean she trusted me or wanted to prove she didn't need me. In our family, the difference was usually decided afterward. "I would have come," I said. "I know." Rose's voice floated from the hallway. "Are you discussing me?" Leah stood too quickly and swayed. "We're discussing breakfast," I called. "Then bring it." Rose was sitting on the edge of her bed in a clean nightgown. Her face looked tired, but she had put on lipstick. I handed her a container of oatmeal. She looked at the lid. "No label? I'm trying something reckless." Leah sat in the chair by the window. Rose opened the container and took one bite. "This is cold. It came from across town. You live 6 minutes away." I drove slowly. "You always drive slowly." Leah began to laugh. It turned into the strained, helpless kind that comes after no sleep. Rose watched her, then reached over and touched her knee. "You did well," she said. Leah stopped laughing. "I cried in your bathroom," she said. "So did I." "I got angry at you." "You remain present while angry. That is advanced care." I looked down at my coffee. Rose's hand stayed on Leah's knee. "You can go home," she said. Leah looked at me. "You're here?" "Yes." "And you're staying tonight?" "Yes." She stood, collected her purse, and moved toward the door. Then she turned back. "I have a dinner tomorrow with a client," she said. "It might run late. Tomorrow is the night after mine." "I know, so it's yours." Her face hardened. "I just told you I have work, and I just told you I'm not taking every night you can justify." Rose set down her oatmeal. Leah glanced toward her, lowering her voice too late. "You're already here. What difference does one more night make?" I looked at the notes on the coffee table, at the towel she had slept on, at the one sock still in her hand. "The difference," I said, "is that you're expecting me to erase what last night cost you." Leah held the sock like she might throw it at me. "So, this is punishment." "No. You found your chance to make me prove something, and now you're going to keep changing the test. I'm not asking you to prove anything. You're telling me I have to cancel work because you've decided my care doesn't count unless it hurts." Rose pushed the oatmeal away. "Please stop speaking about care as if I'm a timeshare." Leah turned to her. "I'm trying to make sure you're not alone. So is he. You're simply angry that his method includes you. That isn't fair." Rose looked at me. "See, it's contagious." I took the sock from Leah and set it on the coffee table. "Punishment would be leaving you here alone with everything," I said. I'm not doing that. I'm staying tonight. I'll take days. I'll come when you need help. I'm just not standing between you and every consequence anymore. Leah's face changed at the word consequence. You mean Grandma getting sick is my consequence? No. Missing sleep is a consequence. Rearranging work is a consequence. Seeing what the pill does after breakfast instead of seeing her dressed for lunch is a consequence. I saw it last night. Yes. And apparently I didn't suffer correctly. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. No. I kept my voice low. What I mean is that one hard night doesn't buy back every night after it. Rose looked at me over the rim of her coffee. You've been waiting to say that for years. Probably. At least you admit it. Leah picked up her purse. I'll figure out tomorrow. What does that mean? It means I have a dinner at 7. I'll come after. What time? I don't know how long dinner will last. Then find out? She opened the front door. You really like this version of yourself. Not especially. You look comfortable. I'm terrified. That stopped her with one foot outside. I hadn't planned to say it. The word felt too large for the room, but once it was there, neither of us could pretend not to see it. I'm terrified I'll keep doing what I've always done, I said. Then one day, I'll be angry at both of you for a life I volunteered to give away. Leah's grip loosened on the doorknob. Rose said nothing. I'm also terrified something will happen the one night I don't come, I continued. I don't know which fear gets to make the schedule. Leah looked down at the purse hanging from her shoulder. I can be here by 9:30 tomorrow, she said. Is that honest? If the client doesn't order dessert, tell the client you have to leave by 9. That is not how client dinners work. Then 10. 9:30. All right, I'll stay until 9:30. I thought it was my night. It is. I'll cover until you arrive. Then I leave. Rose lifted one hand. The timeshare has agreed to the transfer. Leah gave her a tired smile and went home. I washed the oatmeal container while Rose watched me from the table. You frightened her, she said. She frightens me. You don't show it. Apparently, I look busy. That wasn't meant to be cruel. It was meant to stop me. Rose considered that. Yes. I wiped the counter, then forced myself to put down the cloth before I cleaned something that wasn't dirty. The cardiology office returned our call before noon. I put the phone on speaker and sat across from Rose without answering for her. The nurse asked questions about her breathing, swelling, weight, and the hospital instructions. Rose answered all of them. When the nurse asked about urinary urgency, Rose glanced at me. Tell her, I said, I know. She described the accidents, including the one at the antique mall. She did not make it brisk this time. She said she had begun avoiding the pill whenever she planned to leave home, then admitted she had stopped it completely at Leah's condo. The nurse arranged an earlier appointment and suggested taking the morning dose at a consistent time when Rose could remain close to her own bathroom. She also explained which changes meant we should call immediately. I know those, I said. Rose put a finger to her lips. I stopped talking. When the call ended, she wrote the appointment on the calendar in her own handwriting. There, she said. My medical mutiny has been scheduled. You did well. She looked at me. That sounded like an inspection sticker, I said. A little. I'll work on it. She stood and reached for her cane. I'm going to the bedroom. Do you need help? No. Do you want company? No. Do you want me to stop asking questions? Yes. I waited until she had crossed the hallway before sitting down. She turned at the bedroom door. You may ask whether I want lunch around 1. Thank you for the authorization. You're welcome. We made it through the day without an emergency. That did not make it easy. The resumed medication kept Rose moving between her chair and the bathroom. Sometimes she made it comfortably. Sometimes she stood too fast and had to grip the table until the room steadied. Once her slipper caught on the edge of the hallway rug. I rolled the rug up and carried it toward the closet. I like that rug, she said. It nearly put you on the floor. So now it dies? I'm moving it temporarily. You remove first and negotiate later. I stopped with the rug under my arm. Do you want it back? No. Then what are we arguing about? I want you to ask. I unrolled it, laid it exactly where it had been, and stood. Would you like me to move the rug so you don't trip on it? Yes. I rolled it up again. Rose watched the entire performance. You look ridiculous. I feel ridiculous. Good. Change should cost something. That afternoon, while she rested in her recliner, I removed nothing else without permission. I asked about a small table narrowing the path to the bathroom. She agreed to move it. I asked about a nightlight in the hall. She refused the one shaped like a mushroom and accepted a plain square one. The difference in the results was almost non-existent. The difference in her face was not. After dinner, she sat in her recliner with her feet elevated. I sat across from her reading the same page of a newspaper for 10 minutes. "Are you going to ask?" she said. "Ask what?" "Why I chose Leah. I know why. You think you do. She takes you places. She doesn't make you feel sick. She also listens to the end of a sentence. That sounds like a criticism. It is." I folded the newspaper. Rose adjusted the blanket over her knees. "When I tell you I'm tired, you ask about my blood pressure. When I tell Leah, she asks what tired me. Sometimes the answer is blood pressure, and sometimes the answer is you." I looked at her. "She makes me feel interesting," Rose said. "You make me feel maintained. That's because I do most of the maintaining." "I know. You're saying it doesn't count. I'm saying it doesn't feel like love every time you mean it as love." The room was quiet except for the clock on the mantel. "Did you enjoy making her defy me?" I asked. Rose's eyes narrowed. "That's an unpleasant question. It's still a question." She looked toward the dark window. "A little," she said. The honesty hurt more cleanly than a denial would have. "Why? Because she always thinks you're right." Leah would have laughed at that. "No, she doesn't. She fights you because she thinks you're right. Otherwise, she'd ignore you. That's a complicated theory. I've had years. You put her in the middle. I didn't drag her. She came willingly. You knew why she came." Rose looked down at her hands. "She wanted to be chosen, and you wanted to be rescued from me. I wanted one person to say that what was happening to my body was unfair before explaining why it was necessary. I had no answer to that." Around midnight, Rose had another accident 3 steps from the bathroom. She stood in the hall, one hand against the wall, her nightgown wet to the knees. Her face went blank with humiliation. I did not tell her it was all right. It clearly wasn't. "Do you want me to get Leah?" I asked. "Don't be absurd. Do you want help?" She closed her eyes. "Yes." I brought towels and clean clothes. I kept my eyes on her face while she steadied herself with a hand on my shoulder. She was lighter than I expected, not delicate exactly. Reduced. "Your father never asked," she said as I knelt to wipe the floor. "Asked what?" "If I wanted help. He just did things." "Did you prefer that?" "Sometimes." I looked up. "People are inconsistent, Glenn. It is not a conspiracy." She changed behind the bathroom door while I cleaned the hallway. Then we sat at the kitchen table at 12:30 in the morning, drinking tea. "I still hate that pill," she said. "I know. I may always hate it. You're allowed. But I'll call before I stop it again." "All right. That isn't a promise to obey. I heard you." She studied my face as if checking for hidden conditions. The next day, Leah arrived at 9 in the morning carrying fresh coffee and the blue robe, which she had taken home to remove a stain. She listened while Rose told her about the accident. She did not look at me for confirmation. At 7 that evening, Leah texted that dinner had started late. At 8:45, she wrote that the client had ordered dessert. At 9:20, Rose was asleep in the recliner. I had already packed my overnight things and placed them by the door. Leah arrived at 9:58 in a red dress and high heels, smelling faintly of grilled onions and expensive perfume. "You're late," I said. I texted. "You said 9:30. I can't control how fast a restaurant serves cheesecake. You can stand up. That would have cost me the client. Did staying get you the client?" Her expression answered before she did. "No," she said. "He's going with someone else." "I'm sorry." "Are you?" "Yes." She looked toward the living room. "How is she?" "She had a good day. She's tired. She took the pill." "There are clean sheets in the dryer." Leah set down her purse. "Can you stay?" "No." "Dad, please. I just lost an account. I don't have the energy for another night like Sunday. I stayed until you arrived. You know what I mean?" "Yes." "This is the part where you teach me the lesson?" "No. This is the part where I go home." Rose stirred in the other room and called Leah's name. Leah closed her eyes. I picked up my bag. "If you need help, call me," I said. "I will answer. But I won't take your place before you've even entered the room." Leah stared at me for a long moment. Then Rose called again, and Leah kicked off her high heels. "I'm here," she answered. She walked toward the living room without asking me to follow. I heard her say, "What do you need?" before the front door closed behind me. At home, I placed my overnight bag on the floor and left it there. I didn't check whether the windows were locked. I didn't straighten the mail. I sat in the dark living room with my coat still on and listened to the refrigerator cycle in the kitchen. At 1:14, I picked up my phone. No calls. At 2:30, I checked again. At 3:12, a message appeared from Leah. She made it to the bathroom. "We're fine. Go to sleep." I read it 3 times. Then I went to sleep. When I woke, sunlight was coming through the blinds and the clock said 10:47. I had slept in my clothes, something I hadn't done since Leah showed up after her marriage ended. There was another message. "Rough night, no emergency. Grandma says appointment is at 1. She wants both of us there." I called Rose. "You're awake," she said. "How do you know I was asleep? You haven't called. How was the night? Long? Breathing? Acceptable? Any dizziness?" "Your daughter has a list. I'm asking you." And I answered. I sat up on the couch. "Do you want me at the appointment?" "I just said I did." "Leah said you did. Do you require notarization?" "No." "Then arrive at 12:30. "Not 12. If you arrive at 12, you will stand in my kitchen pretending not to inspect things." "I don't pretend. That is not a defense." She ended the call. I showered, changed my shirt twice, and made coffee I forgot to drink. Before leaving, I took the clear bag of unopened packets from the cabinet where I had placed it. I stood with it in my hand, unsure why. They weren't useful now. The doctors knew about the missed doses. Rose had current medication. The old packets were not evidence anyone needed except me. I put the bag back. My phone rang. It was Rose. "Bring them," she said. "The packets?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because I asked you to keep them. And now I am asking you to bring them. What are you going to do with them? I may frame them." "Mom, bring the bag, Glenn." At 12:30, Leah's car was already in Rose's driveway. She opened the front door before I reached it. Her hair was pulled back, and she had no makeup on. There were dark circles under her eyes. "You're late," she said. I checked my watch. It's 12:28. Grandma's been ready since 11. That isn't my fault. Everything before noon feels like your fault today. Rose appeared behind her wearing a navy dress and low shoes. She had lipstick on, but not enough to hide how tired she looked. "Do I look all right?" she asked me. "You look beautiful." That wasn't the question. "You look tired," Leah said. "Dad?" she asked. Rose nodded. He answered. I held up the clear bag. Her expression changed. "Put it in my bedroom," she said. "You told me to bring it. I didn't tell you to wave it on the porch. I put the bag in the overnight case on the chair, and we left." Leah drove. Rose sat in front, and I sat in the back like a child nobody trusted with the radio. At the cardiologist's office, the receptionist handed Rose a clipboard. "Glenn Mercer," she wrote on the emergency contact line. Then she crossed out my name and wrote Leah's beneath it. I watched without comment. Rose noticed. "You're both coming in," she said. I didn't say anything. Your eyebrow did. My eyebrows don't talk. Leah flipped through a magazine. They give speeches. When the nurse called Rose's name, the 3 of us stood. The appointment was not dramatic. That was what made it useful. Rose told the cardiologist exactly why she had stopped the medicine. She described the urgency, the accidents, and the humiliation. Leah did not soften it for her. I did not add dates. The doctor asked what mattered most to Rose. "Not drowning in my own lungs," she said. "But I would also like to buy earrings without wetting myself." He adjusted the timing, reviewed what Rose could safely do on days she wanted to go out, and explained that any future changes needed to be discussed before she made them. He spoke to her, not around her. Rose asked questions. So did Leah. I asked one and stopped after the answer. In the parking lot, Rose leaned against the car while Leah unlocked it. "Well," Rose said, "that was annoyingly reasonable." "You're going to follow the new schedule?" I asked. She looked at me. "I'm asking, not instructing." "Yes, Glenn, I am going to follow it. And if it causes problems, I call." "Who?" "The office." "Good." "There's your sticker," Leah said. I put my hands in my pockets. At Rose's house, she insisted on lunch at the kitchen table. Leah made grilled cheese sandwiches while I heated tomato soup from one of my labeled containers. "This says Wednesday," Rose said. "It is Wednesday. You finally found your moment." Leah set a sandwich in front of her. "Eat." Rose took 2 bites, then pushed the plate away. "You need more than that," I said. "No," she replied. I nodded and moved my own plate closer. Rose looked disappointed that I didn't argue. After lunch, she went to the bedroom and returned carrying the clear bag of packets. She set it on the kitchen table between us. The coffee-stained one was visible through the plastic. "I don't want this in your cabinet," she told me. "I wasn't planning to keep it forever. You were keeping it long enough to decide what it meant." Leah sat across from me. I said the same thing. "No, you accused me of building a case. Were you?" I looked at the bag. "A little," I said. Rose pulled the zipper apart and removed the packets one by one. She lined them across the table in no particular order. Some were clean, some were bent. The 11 from Leah's trash still smelled faintly of coffee when the paper warmed beneath my hand. Leah folded her arms. "What are we doing?" "Telling the truth while the objects are still available," Rose said. "You sound like Dad. It comes and goes." She touched one of the older packets. "These 3 were mine. Leah did not know about them." "We established that," Leah said. "Not entirely. You keep speaking as if we made one decision together. I made the first decision alone. Then I let you believe you had rescued me from your father." Leah's arms loosened. Rose continued. "I knew you enjoyed it." "Enjoyed what?" "Being chosen." Leah looked at me, then back at Rose. "You asked me for help. I asked you for permission I had already given myself. That's not fair." "No, it wasn't." Leah pushed her chair back an inch. "So now I'm the fool." "No. You're my granddaughter. That is not an explanation. It may be the explanation for more than we'd like." I reached for my coffee, though the cup was empty. Rose looked at me. "And you. I'm sure my portion is coming. You found these and immediately knew what everybody should have done. You were in the hospital. I was not in the hospital when you found them. You ended up there? Yes. Your fear was justified. That does not make every expression of it loving." I felt the old argument rising in me, complete with examples and dates. I let it pass. "I know," I said. Rose's eyes narrowed as if she suspected a trick. Leah said, "He told the hospital I did this to you. I told them what happened. You said I helped discard the medicine. You did. And that Dad handled your pill organizer," Rose added quietly. Leah went still. I had not told Rose the exact wording. She looked at Leah. "Did you?" "I was scared. That is not an answer." "Yes," Leah said. "I told them Dad normally handled it." "Why?" "I didn't know what they were asking." "You knew." Leah's face flushed. "I thought you were dying. And you wanted it to belong to him?" "No." "Then why say his name?" Leah stood and walked to the sink. For several seconds she stared out the window above it. "Because if I said I threw the pills away, they would look at me like I had hurt you." "You had," Rose said. Leah turned around. Rose's voice shook, but she didn't take the sentence back. "I didn't mean to." "Neither did the pill," Rose said. "It still hurt me." Leah pressed both hands to the counter. "You asked me." "Yes." "You begged me not to tell him." "Yes." "You said he would make you feel crazy." "Yes." "And now you're sitting there acting like I did this alone. I am saying I let you help me, and then you let him carry it." The room went quiet. I wanted to rescue Leah. The impulse surprised me after days of refusing to rescue her. I wanted to tell Rose she was being too hard, that panic made people say things, that Leah had called the ambulance and cleaned the floor and stayed in the hospital wearing wet pants. All of that was true. It was also the shield Leah expected me to raise. I kept my hands on the table. Leah looked at me. "Say something." "What?" "Whatever you've been waiting to say." I glanced at the coffee-stained packet. "When the nurse asked about the medication, I heard you put my name next to the mistake." Her eyes filled. "I corrected it because Mom needed the truth in her chart. Not to punish you, I know. No, I need you to hear the rest. I would have protected you before. I would have said it was complicated and let everybody assume I missed something. You say that like I asked. You didn't have to. We know our parts." Leah looked down. "I need you to stop giving me your blame because you know I'll carry it," I said, "and I need to stop carrying it so I can feel necessary." Rose sat very still. Leah wiped one eye with the heel of her hand. "I'm sorry." I waited. "For saying you handled the pills," she added. "I knew how it would sound. Thank you. And I'm sorry I lied about the doctor." "Thank you," she looked at Rose. "I'm not sorry I listened to you." "You shouldn't be," Rose said. "I'm sorry I listened only when you said what I wanted to hear." Rose's mouth trembled. She reached across the table, but Leah stepped back before their hands met. "I need a minute," Leah said. She went out the back door and closed it softly. Rose gathered the packets into a stack. You wanted her to stay, I said. Yes. You still said it. Yes. That cost you. She looked toward the door. Change should cost something. I recognized my own words and hers tangled together. I picked up the yellow sticky note. Do not put these back. What do you want to do with them? I asked. Rose looked at the packets for a long time. Not the trash, she said. No. Take them to the pharmacy for disposal. All right, and leave the bag here. Why? Because it belongs in my kitchen. She put the empty clear bag in the center of the table and flattened it with both palms. Outside, Leah sat on the back step with her face in her hands. Rose looked at me. Go get her. I stayed in my chair. No, I said. You go. Rose frowned at me. She's upset. I know. You're better at talking to her. No, I'm better at making the feeling stop. That would be useful right now. For you? Her mouth tightened. The back door had a narrow window. Through it, Leah's shoulders rose and fell beneath her sweater. She had not moved from the step. Rose reached for her cane. I stood automatically. She pointed it at me. Don't. I sat back down. She crossed the kitchen slowly. At the door, she paused with her hand on the knob. What do I say? The truth. That is a category, not a sentence. You'll find one. You've become very difficult. I learned from professionals. Rose opened the door. Leah wiped her face and looked away. You shouldn't be out here. It's warm. I have survived warm. You're supposed to keep your feet up. I have also survived feet. Rose lowered herself onto the step beside her. It took effort. Leah reached out, then stopped before touching her. I could hear them through the screen. I'm sorry, Rose said. Leah gave a small laugh. Which part? That's your father's question. It's a good question. Yes. Irritatingly. Rose rested both hands on the head of her cane. I'm sorry I made you responsible for a choice I wanted to make, then acted as if you had no right to be afraid of what it caused. Leah stared across the yard. You didn't make me, she said. I knew you wanted me to need you. You did need me. Yes. The answer came without hesitation. Leah looked at her then. Rose continued. I wanted you because you saw something besides an old woman taking pills. I also wanted you because I knew you would say yes, so you picked the weak one. No. I picked the one whose weakness matched mine. Leah's chin trembled. I wanted to be fun, Rose said. You wanted to be trusted. Neither of us wanted to be honest about the price. You could have just asked me to take you places. I did. I mean, without making it a contest with Dad. Rose glanced toward the kitchen. I stepped away from the door so she wouldn't see me listening, which did not make it less like listening. I don't know how to love your father without making him earn it, she said. The sentence pinned me beside the sink. Leah said something too quiet for me to hear. Then Rose said, I know. I carried the pharmacy packets out the front door. At the drugstore, the disposal box stood beside the prescription counter. I fed the packets through the slot one at a time. The coffee-stained one caught on the edge, and I had to push it with my finger. For days I had treated those packets like a map of who failed whom. Once they disappeared, the slot closed without ceremony. I stood there holding nothing. A clerk asked if I needed help. No, I said. I'm finished. When I returned to Rose's house, Leah and Rose were at the kitchen table. The empty clear bag lay flattened between them. Leah had been crying. Rose had applied fresh lipstick. How did it go? Rose asked. The pharmacy took them. No alarms? None. I pictured a ceremony. I declined the choir. Leah looked at the overnight case. Did you keep one? No. She nodded. Rose pushed the empty bag toward me. I still don't want that in your cabinet. It's empty. Some things remain full after you empty them, Leah said. That sounds like something printed on a mug. I laughed before I could stop myself. Rose looked pleased. Diane is also good for the family. Don't make her responsible for that. The smile faded from Rose's face. All right, she said. It was a small answer. It changed the room. Leah stayed that night without asking me to stay too. I called at 9, and she said Rose was in bed. I asked if they needed anything. No, she said. I nearly asked about Rose's breathing. Instead, I said, call if that changes. At 10:30, Leah sent a photograph of the handwritten notes she had made on the hospital instructions. Then, before I could answer, another message appeared. Wrong habit, ignore that. We're okay. I put the phone on the nightstand. The following evening, I met Diane at a restaurant that served food on ordinary white plates and had no visible chalkboard. She was already seated when I arrived. I had left my tools in the car. I checked, I told her. For what? Loose fixtures? Any emergencies? The hostess stand wobbles. Can you endure it? I'm trying. Diane smiled, but there was caution in it. I sat across from her. Rose and Leah apologized to each other. That sounds dangerous. It took. For how long? I don't know. Good answer. The server brought menus. I opened mine and realized I had no idea what Diane liked to order there, though we had eaten together dozens of times. What are you having? I asked. Salmon. You don't like salmon. I love salmon. You always order chicken. Because you like sharing. I lowered the menu. I thought you preferred chicken. You never asked. You cut off a piece and put it on my plate. I'm generous. You're invasive with cutlery. I'm sorry. She watched me. I mean it, I said. I know. No explanation. I noticed. We ordered. Diane got salmon. I ordered chicken and kept all of it on my own plate. For a while, we talked about ordinary things. Her book club had finally discussed the correct book. My neighbor had moved the same leaf to the opposite side of his driveway. The fern had survived her care, but appeared resentful. Then Diane set down her glass. What happens the next time Rose needs you? I go if she needs me. That isn't what I meant. I know. She waited. I ask what she needs, I said. I decide what I can do. I tell Leah the truth about it, and me, I tell you too. Before or after you disappear? Before. Diane turned her glass by the stem. I don't need to come first every time, Glenn. I know. I need not to be the place you visit between emergencies. I know. You keep saying that. I'm trying not to defend myself. How does it feel, like leaving a gate open? She smiled faintly. What are you afraid will get out? I looked toward the window. Evening traffic moved beyond the glass, people going somewhere without my assistance. My whole life, I knew what made me valuable, I said. My father needed things fixed. My mother needed things handled. Leah needed somebody who showed up. And I need none of those? You change your own batteries. I'm ruthless. I don't know what I'm supposed to be in a room with you. Diane leaned back. That may be the first flattering thing you've said to me. It didn't sound flattering. You think I want a data maintenance department? I have excellent response times. I want to know what you want when nobody is leaking, stranded, sick, or locked out. The server arrived with our food. We waited while he arranged the plates and asked if we needed anything else. I almost said no automatically. More water, please, I said. Diane looked amused. When he left, I said, I wanted the lake. You spent the lake waiting for permission to leave it. I want another trip. To prove something? No, that answer was too fast. All right, a little. I want to prove I can go. To whom? Me. She lifted a bite of salmon. That's at least the right person. My phone buzzed against my thigh. I took it out. Rose. Diane saw the name. You can answer, I know. The phone rang a third time and stopped. I waited. No second call. A voicemail appeared. I turned the phone face down. Diane ate her salmon. That looked painful. It was. What if she needs something? If it's urgent, she'll call again. Or Leah will. And if she doesn't? Then I'll hear the voicemail after dinner. Diane nodded. She did not congratulate me. We stayed for coffee. In the parking lot, I listened to Rose's message. Glenn, the square nightlight is too bright. It makes the hallway look like an airport. Do not buy another one. I am informing you of a problem, not requesting a solution. There was a pause. Then she added, Dinner was fine. Leah burned the bread. We are alive. I laughed beside my car. Diane held out her hand. Let me hear. I played it again. She's learning, Diane said. So am I. Don't become unbearable about it. I'll pace myself. The next several days did not become easy enough to make a lesson out of them. Rose's new medication schedule reduced the worst of the urgency, but didn't eliminate it. She still had accidents. She still hated asking for help. Leah still arrived late twice and brought things Rose didn't need. I still moved objects without permission and occasionally found myself standing over the pill organizer like a customs officer. But we began catching one another before the old patterns finished. Rose wrote the care schedule herself on a calendar attached to the refrigerator. She used L for Leah, G for me, and R for the hours she intended to be left alone. Leah pointed to a large block marked R. What if you need something? Then I call, who? Whichever one of you I feel like inconveniencing. That isn't a plan. It is my favorite part of the plan. The first afternoon Rose stayed alone, I drove past her street twice. I did not turn onto it. Leah admitted she had parked around the corner for 20 minutes before forcing herself to leave. You're both ridiculous, Rose said when she found out. You made us, Leah replied. Rose nodded. Some of it. Leah began taking her out again, but differently. They chose places with accessible restrooms. They brought extra clothes without pretending the bag held something else. Before their first trip back to the botanical garden, Rose took her medication at the adjusted time and called the visitor center herself. I expected a photograph. None came. At 6 that evening, Leah texted one word. Home. I wrote, good. Then deleted it and wrote, how was it? Rose called me 10 minutes later. The flowers were overwatered, the coffee was terrible, and I bought earrings. You had a good time. I did. Any trouble? A pause. A little, she said. We handled it. I felt the question forming. What kind? How much? Who helped? Did she get dizzy? I let it go. I'm glad, I said. On Sunday, Rose called before breakfast. I don't want to take the pill today, she said. Why? Leah is taking me to the flea market. What did the cardiologist say about adjusting the time? I know what he said. What do you want from me? She sighed. I want you to tell me I'm right. I can't. I suspected. I can tell you I understand why you want to skip it. That is annoyingly close. Call the office. It's Sunday. The instructions have an after-hours number. I don't want to bother them. You prefer bothering me. Your family. It's one of your few remaining duties. She made the call. The timing was adjusted for that day within the instructions she had already been given. She went to the flea market and came home tired but breathing comfortably. That afternoon, Leah appeared at my door carrying the empty clear bag from Rose's kitchen. What is that doing here? I asked. Grandma told me to bring it. Why? She wants the two of us at her house tonight. For what? She said she has something to say, and if we interrupt, she's changing the locks. She doesn't know how to change the locks. Leah handed me the bag. Please don't tell her that. At Rose's kitchen table, 3 plates were set out, and the empty bag sat in the middle. Rose remained standing until Leah and I took our seats. I have made a decision, she said. I felt my shoulders tighten. Rose saw it. It is not about medicine. Sit like a person. I'm sitting. You're braced, Leah said. Just tell us. Rose placed both palms on the table. I want Glenn to go away with Diane next weekend, she said. And I want you, Leah, not to move into my house while he's gone. Leah and I looked at each other. Rose continued, I will keep my schedule. I will call if I need help. You will both stop creating a disaster in advance so you can be the one who prevents it. What if something happens? Leah asked. Something will eventually happen. That is not a schedule, I said. Why next weekend? Because if I wait until you feel safe, you'll be packing for my funeral. Mom? And because I need to know whether either of you believes what you've been saying. I looked at the empty bag. Rose pushed it toward us. This was never only about whether I took a pill, she said. It was about which one of you got to decide what happened after I didn't. She sat down. I have one condition, she added. What? I asked. If I call because I'm afraid, neither of you is allowed to turn fear into an ambulance before asking what I need. Leah looked at me. I looked at Rose. And if you can't breathe? I asked. Then I will say, I can't breathe. You promise? No, she said. I tell you. You decide whether to believe me. That is what trust costs. That sounds convenient, I said. It is not convenient. Convenient was lying. Leah picked up the empty bag and turned it over in her hands. If you call and say you're scared, what are we supposed to do? Listen. And then? Perhaps there is no then. There is always a then with you. Rose looked at me. He taught you that. I'm aware. I leaned forward. Fear can be a symptom. Fear can also be fear. How will we know, you ask? And if you minimize it? You choose whether to believe me, she repeated. Leah rubbed the plastic between her thumb and finger. I hate this plan. I know. I'm going to check on you. You may visit. You may not move in. What's the difference? A suitcase. You had a suitcase at my condo and still almost died. Rose's face changed. Leah closed her eyes. I'm sorry. No. Leave it. We aren't going to make every true thing polite. She took the bag from Leah and folded it into a small square. I am afraid to be alone, Rose said. I am also afraid I will never be alone again. Both are true. That silenced us. Finally, I asked, what check-ins do you want? 1 call in the morning, 1 at night. From both of us? 1 person each time. I do not require a telephone campaign. Leah said, I'll do mornings. I'll do nights, I said. And if you go out, Rose asked me, I can call from somewhere else. Good. Telephones travel now. Leah touched the folded bag. What is this for? Rose thought about it. Nothing, she said. She dropped it into the kitchen trash. All 3 of us looked down. It landed on top of a coffee filter. Leah started laughing. I did too. Rose held out longer than either of us, then covered her face with one hand and joined us. The sound filled the kitchen without fixing anything. It was still enough. Diane did not immediately agree to the trip. You want to return to the scene? She asked when I called. Not the same inn. Good. I don't think the hostess will survive another inspection. Somewhere closer. That sounds like you keeping 1 foot on Rose's porch. It sounds like compromise. It might be. We chose a small lodge 90 minutes away. 2 nights. No lake, but a river ran behind it. And the rooms had fireplaces Diane assured me were unlikely to require my assistance. Before we left, I went to Rose's house. She was dressed for lunch with a woman from her church. Her current pill packet sat open beside the toaster. The pill was gone. I picked up the packet. Rose came into the kitchen, fastening an earring. If you're checking under my tongue, buy me dinner first. I was throwing this away. The trash is beneath the sink. You visited. I dropped the empty packet into the can. Leah had taped the care schedule to the refrigerator. Rose had crossed out 2 of Leah's notes and written, "Stop hovering" in red pen. My name appeared only beside the evening calls. Your suitcase is in the car? Rose asked. Yes. How many flashlights? 1. Why? In case the power goes out. Are you going into a mine? I'm taking one. She attached the second earring and examined herself in the reflection of the microwave door. You don't have to call tonight, she said. We agreed. I know. I'm testing how quickly you abandon a rule. Not today. She turned toward me. I'm glad you're going. I know. No, I mean it this time. Didn't you mean it last time? I meant 2 things last time. This time, I'm trying 1. I kissed her cheek. Call if you need me. She placed both hands on my shoulders and looked up at me. I know where you are, she said. That is different from needing you there. On the porch, I met Leah coming up the walk with a canvas tote. What's in that? I asked. Lunch. Mom said she was meeting someone. I know. It's for later. Are there clothes in it? No. Toothbrush? No. Pajamas? She opened the tote. It contained 2 food containers, a paperback, and a package of disposable undergarments. You want me to hold those up for the neighborhood? She asked. I was checking. I know. She closed the bag. I'll leave after I put this away, she said. I'm not staying. I didn't ask. You were about to. I was. She glanced toward the door. I'll probably drive past tonight. I probably will too. You'll be 90 minutes away. There are roads. Leah smiled faintly. Have a good trip, Dad. Thank you. Then she hugged me. It wasn't a dramatic hug. One arm, slightly awkward because of the tote, but she held on long enough that I stopped wondering what it meant. At the lodge, Diane unpacked while I stood by the window overlooking the river. You're inspecting the bank, she said. I'm looking at the water. Any code violations? It's moving too fast. I'll alert management. I put my phone on the dresser. Diane noticed. You can keep it with you. I know. Rose may call. I know. You're becoming irritating in a new direction. What should I do? Put it in your pocket and stop making it perform your growth. I picked up the phone and put it in my pocket. That was very insightful, I said. I'm considering a mug. We walked along the river before dinner. Diane took my hand. Nothing needed fixing. I found I could stay in the moment for almost 7 minutes at a time. At 8, I called Rose. I'm eating pie, she said. What kind? Cherry. How do you feel? Full, breathing, continuously? Any swelling? Some. Same as this morning. All right. There was a pause. You're not going to ask what Leah did? She said. What did Leah do? She brought food, inspected my calendar, and left. Good. She drove past again at 7. How do you know? She drives a gray car, not an invisible one. I'll talk to her. No. She kept moving. I heard the smile in Rose's voice. How is Diane? She asked. Right here. Diane leaned closer. I'm eating Glenn's pie. I offered you a bite. You looked away. That counts, Rose said. Buy another piece, Glenn. Yes, Mom. And don't call me before 10 tomorrow. We bought another piece. The next afternoon, my phone rang while Diane and I were sitting beside the river. Rose's name appeared. I answered on the second ring. What happened? You failed the first question. I closed my eyes. What do you need? My television is asking whether I'm still watching. Are you? I was until it became judgmental. Press the center button. Which one is the center? The one in the center. There are 6 centers depending on how you look. Diane held out her hand. Put her on video. Rose figured out the button before I could. She did not need either of us. When we returned home, the house was standing, Rose was breathing, and Leah had not moved in. No one congratulated us. That helped. The arrangements continued after Rose no longer needed someone overnight. She kept the refrigerator calendar, though it became less a care schedule than a record of who had promised what. Leah took Tuesday lunches and Saturday outings. I handled groceries on Wednesdays and came for dinner most Sundays. Sometimes Leah canceled. Sometimes I took over. The difference was that she asked, and I was allowed to say no without turning it into a verdict on her character. She never recovered the client she lost at dinner. I did not offer contacts, money, or a strategy. I listened while she complained. The first time I did that, she stopped halfway through and asked if I was ill. Rose followed the adjusted medication schedule. Not perfectly. Once she skipped a dose and told us that evening. Once she took it late and called the office herself. She continued to hate it. No one required her hatred to become gratitude. Diane and I traveled again. Short trips at first. Then 4 nights in October. I brought one flashlight. The first cold night of the year, my phone rang at 2:11 in the morning. Diane stirred beside me as I reached for it. Rose. I answered. Mom, I'm awake. Her voice was steady, but small. Can you breathe? Yes. Are you in pain? No. Dizzy? No. I sat up. What happened? Nothing happened. That's the problem. In the background, I heard a chair move. Is Leah there? It's her night. The overnight stays had mostly ended, but Leah still slept over after late outings, or when Rose had a difficult day. Put her on. No. Mom? I didn't call because she can't handle it. I called because I wanted your voice. I swung my feet toward the floor, then stopped. Diane's hand rested lightly against my back. What do you need? I asked. Rose was quiet. Then I asked the question underneath it. Do you need me to come, or are you afraid? Her breath caught. I'm afraid, she said. The answer did not sound weak. It sounded expensive. All right. You're not getting dressed? Not unless you ask me to. No. I settled back against the headboard. I heard Leah say, Move over, followed by the creak of Rose's mattress. She's beside me now, Rose said. I know. Leah's voice came closer to the phone. Her breathing is fine. I checked. Thank you. I almost called you. What stopped you? She did. Rose said. I told her I was allowed to be afraid without making her fail. No one spoke for a moment. Then Leah said, Stay on the phone? Yes. We talked about nothing important. Rose complained about the nightlight. Leah described the terrible movie they had watched. Diane lay beside me with her hand in mine. After a while, Rose's answers grew slower. Mom, I'm here. You can sleep. I know, Leah whispered. She's closing her eyes. All right. Good night, Dad. Good night. The line remained open. I did not reach for my shoes. Leah did not ask me to take over. Rose did not pretend she needed nothing. I stayed where I was and stayed with them.